there was an argument, and it got nasty.
And we were yelling at each other, and then her wife got involved. She runs up and punched me in my face.
She ran me over. She attempted to run me over.
Well, there's a difference between running you over and trying to run you over.
This is Judy Justice. Erica Martinez is suing her cousin, Tina Archuleta, and her wife, Felicia Archuleta, for the balance of an RV and an assault.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches Judge Judy.
Case 2096, Martinez versus Archuleta.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Judy turns to Erica.
Well, each of you are suing each other for the hefty sum of $10,000. Ms. Martinez, you say you were like a cousin to one of these defendants. Which one?
Tina.
That would be you.
That'd be me.
And your name is?
Felicia Archuleta.
You live together.
Yes.
Are you married?
Yes.
It is your claim that Tina purchased from you an old RV for $1,000, that she currently has possession of the RV, that she has not paid for the RV, and that when you went to their home to collect the money for the RV, that one of them assaulted you.
Both of them.
The defendants say that the original purchase price, which was $1,000, was reduced because the RV was not running. They paid you the $200. Did you give her the $200?
I did.
You did, and that was the day that you took the RV.
No,
When?
that wasn't the day that I took it. So what happened,
No. You took the RV. When did you give her the $200?
this was after I already had it.
Did you ever get $200 from the defendants?
No, I didn't. I received $160 from Tina.
Okay, so let's get back to the RV. How long did you have the RV? And it was just sitting on your property, is that right?
Right.
How long have you had it?
I've had the RV for about 6 years.
What did you do with it? Did you travel with it?
I lived in it for about 2 months, and then I parked it. And
So it was running,
yes.
but at the time you wanted to get rid of it, it wasn't running.
No.
Did you know what was wrong with it?
Yes, the fuel pump was going bad in it, so we had to replace that.
But it didn't start. They had to have it towed.
Right.
Tina towed it
Right.
back to their property.
Yes, they did.
Okay, so when they took it, the agreement was that they were to pay you how much?
$1,000.
And you acknowledged that you were supposed to pay $1,000.
Yes.
Did you get the title at that time?
Not at that time.
You did not.
No.
Is that correct? At the time that they took the RV and had it towed, they gave you no money.
They gave me no
money. Subsequently, they gave you $160.
Correct.
According to you. And tell me under what circumstances they gave you the $160. Tina did.
I went over to their house, and they gave me the money in hand.
Okay, and what did you give them?
Well, they had the RV given, the title given to them the day that they took the RV.
And then $160. Did she ever give you any other money?
No.
Now, when did you go over, according to you, to the property to get the rest of the money? And tell me what happened. What date?
It was August 27th in the evening. I called Tina and told her I was on my way. I went over to her property, and
You drove?
I drove my car to her property, and Felicia was outside loading the car.
That's Felicia.
Correct.
That's you.
And so I asked her, where is Tina? She says she is inside. I said, well, can you call her? So she called Tina on her phone. So Tina came out, and she comes up to me and says, what's up? And I said, I'm here to get my money. And Tina tells me, no, you're not getting nothing. I told you you're going to get it when I have it. I said, no, that is not the deal. I want all my money, or I'm taking the RV. Now, I have text messages that show that about the RV, about her saying, well, if it's going to be such a problem, you come and pick up the RV and your title. You know, I'm coming to have it picked up tonight. You need to make sure that, you know, not to touch it, and I'm going to
Who
do
was
that.
living in the RV at the time?
I had my friends in there that would help me try to get it started.
So friends of yours were living
Yeah.
in the RV. Okay,
And she told
go
me.
ahead.
Okay, and so I told her that I was going to throw them out because she has not paid me for my RV. And then in the text, she also replies that, well, if I wanted to be grimy, I got the title and I could go ahead and keep it. And I do have proof of that.
I would like to see those texts.
Here's the proof. Here you go.
Erica hands documents to Kevin.
There's some more. Those ones.
He brings them to Judy, who reviews them.
Well, you acknowledge in the text back and forth that you owe her $800.
Yeah, I never said I didn't. The thing is,
Okay.
Can I tell
Just
you one
say-
thing?
All I'm asking is you acknowledge that you owe her $800. Okay.
Caption, coming up.
I told Tina I'm done with it all. I'm gonna make sure that I have someone pick up the RV tonight. And she got upset, screamed, no, you're not, it's a done deal, no, it's not. And I said, I'm getting my RV tonight.
Later,
You chose not to do this shower.
Well, it's not that I didn't choose not to do it. It's she went to Twitter and threatened to beat butt, and I'm not doing business if you want to fight me.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Erica, Tina, and Felicia.
Erica Martinez claims her cousin, Tina Archuleta, and her wife, Felicia Archuleta, owe for the balance of an RV. Tina and Felicia are countersuing for slander and an assault.
Okay, so I have $800 balance for the RV. Now, you want to tell me about this alleged assault, which, according to you, is worth another $9,000?
Well, yes, well, as I was speaking with Tina about it after that, me and her were going back and forth. And we were yelling at each other, and then her wife got involved, and I told her, you need to stay out of it. And then I told Tina, I'm done with it all. You know, I'm going back. I'm gonna make sure that I have someone pick up the RV tonight. And she got upset, screamed, no, you're not, it's a done deal, no, it's not, you're not doing this. And I said, yes, I am. I'm getting my RV tonight. And then I turned around, went into my car. Felicia says, you ain't getting spit on me from the passenger side. And Tina runs up and punched me in my face, and my glasses flew this way. And that's when I told her, that's it, she's in trouble now. And so that's
Do you have
when
a police report on that?
I do.
On photographs? Do you have any medical record?
I do got the medical records, they're right here.
Erica produces documents, then hands them to Kevin, who brings them to Judy. She reviews them.
Okay, this is standard fare. It doesn't give me...
It shows that I did go to the doctor's 2 days after because I was having migraines. And I was showing that.
That's why I'm not understanding it, because it doesn't make sense. Okay. Do you have photographs of your alleged injury to your face?
No, I have the police reports, but it takes 15 days for them.
Just a second. All I'm asking you is, you don't have medical records of the day of this injury. You had a headache. 2 days later, you went to the hospital. So this is useless to me. You don't have photos of your injury, and you don't have a police report. Is that what you're telling me?
I do have the police number for it, but I don't have the report on me,
Well, no. Okay. So far, they owe you $800. Now you have a counterclaim, because you acknowledge you owed her $800. You have a counterclaim for harassment, slander, and assault. Who are you alleging the plaintiff assaulted?
Can I
Who are
go
you?
back to something?
No. Who are you alleging the plaintiff assaulted? That would be you. That's Felicia. How did the plaintiff assault you?
She ran me over.
She tried to run her over.
Tried to run me over.
Well, there's a difference between running you over and trying to run you over. Did she run you over, or did she attempt to run you over?
She attempted to run me over.
Okay, so that at best would be an attempted assault.
Yes.
So you suffered no injuries?
No,
Okay. Do you have any police report
I do, Your Honor.
indicating that you told the police on that date that she attempted to run you over?
This is the one where it says where she tried to run my wife over.
Okay, I'd like to see it, please.
This is the original.
No, I don't. That's all I want.
Tina hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
Okay, so it says I told her to start the truck up and move her car because I was leaving and she was behind us, still arguing. So she put it in gear and tried to hit my wife. Is that what you're talking about? Okay. Did you suffer any injuries?
No, Your Honor, I did not.
Okay. So this case is a very simple one.
And then, Your Honor,
Tina, case is a very simple one.
I
You owe her
say something
$800 for the balance of the RV, which you acknowledge in your text.
But-
The only other part that you have is for slander. Now, you say that in your cross complaint, the plaintiff has slandered you. I'd like to see the evidence that you have that she has slandered you. May I see it, please?
I need to show her she wanted the dog.
Tina hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy.
This isn't slander. I mean, she calls you nasty names, but sticks and stones, and she says they wouldn't pay me for my stuff, my RV, and so forth. That's not slander.
Can I say one thing that I need to get out there? Because originally the first thing before even doing any of this, she wanted a puppy. And that's where all this title and everything came in.
I read that.
She wanted a puppy.
I read that, and then she changed her mind.
Yeah, and that's where we got the title.
I don't care. You owe her $800. You acknowledge in your text messages.
Try to keep the peace.
Listen to me. I don't care. You acknowledge that you owed her $800, the balance of the $1,000 for the RV. She came to try to get it. There was an argument, and it got nasty. You owe her, Tina, the $800 that you agreed to pay her, the balance of the RV. Judgment for the plaintiff. Counterclaims dismissed. We're done.
This court is adjourned.
Yeah, I don't like it.
I'm very happy with it.
She wanted a dog. That's why she gave me the title.
She had asked me if I wanted a puppy, but she said that she'd make a deal with me and only charged me $1,200, which she changed her words and it was $1,500, so I did not get the puppy.
I tried to keep the peace and say, oh, okay, I'll pay you after she changed her mind.
She's a good liar.
She's just a liar. I don't care. She needs money more than I do.
I honestly think it's ridiculous. We should never have to come to this.
The Shane family.
It's all good.
No more family, for sure.
Sarah.
This case was another great example of why it's so important, especially with family and friends. If you're going to sell something of value, to have it in writing. People assume with strangers, oh, of course I should have a writing when I'm selling something. But when it's to a friend or a family member, that gift and loan line are very close together, and a writing proves to this court very easily which one of the two it is. So I think that that's a great takeaway from cases like these.
It is. It's a great takeaway. I've always said that when you apply for a marriage license, usually you just have to show your citizenship, date of birth, but I actually think that a marriage license should include all the property that you claim is separate property.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be easy? It would do away with probably 30% or 40% of the divorce proceedings that become acrimonious because you sort of lay it out. So I think that really writing is always important because at the time, you're usually happy with each other. At the time that you're contesting that sale, you're not so happy. So if you have a writing or if you have a license, it makes everybody's job and your stress level reduced. And I'm all about reducing my stress level.
Of course.
Case 2150, Thomas Williams versus Gilmore. All parties, please step forward.
Diamond Thomas and Rumby Williams are suing Rumby's former friend, Shamia Gilmore, for a deposit and the costs of a brunch.
Diamond, this is your boyfriend.
Yes.
And you were planning a baby shower?
It was actually a sip and see for her.
What is that?
So it's like family and friends weren't allowed to really come to the hospital, so we decided to have a little event after the baby turned 6 weeks.
Okay, so that was October 22nd.
Yes.
You hired Miss Gilmore as the caterer of that little event. She quoted you a price of $500 to cater the event, and you gave her a $250 deposit.
Correct.
Then some stuff bothered you a little bit because you, according to what I read, you found some either text messages or whatever between the defendant and boyfriend, which you felt were a little too cozy by her.
Yes.
And you gave her a buzz and you sort of had it out with her. I don't want you to do this anymore, whatever. Anyway, you called her back and said, yes, I want you to do it. She ended up not doing this sip and see. And she finally called you and said, I'm not doing it. I don't like the attitude, I'm not doing it. And you said, fine, give me my $250 back. She said, no. So you're suing her for not only your deposit back, $250, you did hire other people to cater the event.
No, we did it ourselves.
And you want her to pay $1,025 because you said that that's what it cost you over and above $250 plus the rest.
Yes.
Well, that you can't have.
Caption, coming up.
An offer and acceptance and a meeting of the minds. That was the contract. That doesn't have to be in writing.
We have a verbal agreement via
Well, that's what
Instagram.
that's what I just said.
So it is in writing.
Who cares?
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Diamond, Rumby, and Shamia.
Diamond Thomas and Rumby Williams claim Rumby's former friend, Shamia Gilmore, owed for a deposit and the costs of a brunch.
Okay, you're going to tell me you chose not to do this shower? You chose not to do it.
Well, it's not that I didn't choose not to do it. It's she went to Twitter and threatened to beat butt, and I'm not doing business. If you want to fight me,
Okay.
it doesn't make sense to be in the
Okay,
fight.
well, I don't blame you. If she went to Twitter and said something nasty about you, then I wouldn't do her baby shower, sip and whatever they call it. I wouldn't do it either. Then you have to give her back her $250.
And I bought items for the brunch already. I offered the mimosa bar back and I offered $125 back. She wants the whole thing. If I already spent money out my pocket, there's no way you think I'm finna give you a whole $250. That doesn't make sense.
Well, just a second. Okay, let me see what she wrote about you on Twitter.
And also, Judge,
So what you're saying is you actually made a purchase.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you have proof of that purchase that you made?
I have the mimosa bar. I don't have it with me, but I didn't print anything off.
I don't
still
even
have
know
the
what that
mimosa
is.
bar.
What is a mimosa bar?
So it's where you put the mimosa glasses on it's a grass wall, but it has where you hang the cups up at on the wall with the mimosa glass, like the champagne flutes that you put on the wall. And then it has.
Have you used that before? When
No,
you've
well, I
catered?
bought one before, but I still have it brand new.
Just a second. Have you used it before? You're a caterer.
Yes, ma'am.
How many times?
Quite a few.
How many?
On 2 hands, maybe 7 or 8 times.
Okay, and you buy a new one each time you use it?
Yes, ma'am. I let them keep it.
Just a second, you let them keep it. Well, now you can keep this one and use it next time.
Okay.
and I would like to say something about the $950 that she owes us. We gave her a deposit of $250,
Right.
and she is claiming that we had made anything threatening towards her.
No, just a second.
And she canceled on us. And so I feel that we didn't have enough ample time to be able to find another caterer to do our event.
Well, that's too bad.
Can I ask why?
Absolutely, because you're entitled to your money back, but your contract was for her to do a party, which she ended up not doing.
Can we see the contract? Because I don't.
No, you haven't. You have.
We don't have the contract.
Yeah, and
Yes, you do. You had an agreement. She was going to do an event for you on October 22nd. You agreed for her to do the event for you on October 22nd, and you gave her a $250 deposit. That's a contract. It's an oral contract. You had an offer. You had an acceptance. That's a contract. An offer and acceptance and a meeting of the minds. She was going to do the event for $500. You paid her $250. That was the contract. That doesn't have to be in writing.
We have a verbal agreement via
That's what
Instagram.
That's what I just said.
So it is in writing.
Who cares?
Well, it was the point that how are we supposed to be compensated for everything that we had to do after she canceled us?
Well, you have to grow up. You have a baby,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Is this your only baby?
Yes.
Great, you have a baby. You have to grow up. I grew up so much, the old me would have beat out one of you. What is that?
I'm not sure.
Would you show this to the plaintiff? I'm just curious. She's going to give you back your $250 anyway. She chose not to do the event.
Kevin hands a document to Diamond.
What?
I don't know what that is. I'm showing it to you. She gave me to show me something that you wrote.
You wanted me to read this?
No,
or
I'm
you
just
want me to
asking.
tell you what it is?
No, I'm just asking you if you were the author of that.
Yes.
And did you write it about?
It was just a general statement. It wasn't about anybody in particular. That's why I didn't
Give that back.
direct it to the name.
We're very, very easy. Your baby nice? You happy with your baby?
Yes.
Very good. You have nothing to do with her anymore?
No.
Good. You have a mimosa wall. Use it for another event. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $250. We're done here. Thank you very much.
This court is adjourned.
I don't agree with the judge's decision.
I'm satisfied with the $250 and knowing that Shamia was wrong to keep our deposit after she canceled on us.
It's just a lot of mess. I won't do business with them ever again.
It is what it is. If she felt some type of way, that's on her.
I'm gonna keep on doing what I'm doing.
We just won't ever do business with her again because she is very unprofessional, just like the tweet said.
Judy.
Do you know it's an exciting day when at my age you learn something new?
We learn a lot of new things here.
Learn a lot of new things here. So I've just about mastered the engagement party, the wedding, bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, quinceañeras, christenings, baptisms, baby showers, if I haven't mentioned that, anniversary parties. But this is the first time I ever heard that expression, a sip
And
see.
Yeah, I think it's a new thing. I think COVID probably played a role in it. about people not wanting to have big parties or interact with large numbers of people, especially before giving birth with all the hospital requirements. So I like the idea. I've only been to 1 or 2, but the idea is you wait for your child to be about 6 weeks old, so they've been vaccinated, and
They're not
the first
vaccinated
shots.
when you're 6
Well,
weeks.
the first round of baby shots, and then they're able to see family and have a baby shower where the baby is included. So
I'll add it to my list of
I'll see if I could find one for you to go to. We'll
Thank
see.
you.
Title: Judy Justice.
Want justice? Go to judyjustice.tv.
An investment that went south. Where did you put that money, sir?
He was a friend of a friend. His name was Scott.
Scott what?
I can't remember his last name. My friend introduced me to Scott.
What's your friend's name?
His name is John.
This is Jennifer Anderton is suing her former friend, James Sorensen, for personal training and a fraudulent investment.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches the bench.
Case 2125, Anderton versus Sorensen.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Miss Anderton, your case against the defendant is twofold. First, you claim a loan to him in the amount of $10,000. And while he doesn't deny that you gave him $10,000, it is his defense that this was not a loan, but an investment in a project that went south. It went south because somebody conned him, and thus you were conned as well. Somebody took off with the money. The second part of your lawsuit is that Mr. Sorensen is a trainer of some sort, a personal trainer, fitness trainer, and you retained him to put you on some sort of a regimen of both diet and exercise. And you paid him in advance. He wasn't forthcoming with all of the training sessions he was supposed to give you, became unavailable. You want a refund of some of that money. So the first thing I'm going to deal with in your lawsuit is the $10,000 exchange of money. If I find that that, in fact, was a loan or was fraudulently entered into as a result of being duped and being a dope, then I'm going to give you back the money. Then I don't have to get to the training because that's the limit of my jurisdiction. Do you understand?
I understand.
Okay, great. How did you meet him?
I met him on a dating site, actually.
When?
Early June 2021.
Did you date?
We befriended each other. And after our first meeting, that is when I had just come off of a ventilator of 10 days. I was a nurse, contracted COVID. He actually came to my home and said, I could really help you get back to where you were. I needed rehab.
Okay, so after the first meeting, you were not dating?
No.
Is that right, sir?
That's correct.
And that was in June of 2021?
Yes.
When did you, Mr. Sorensen, tell Ms. Anderton about this investment opportunity?
It was about a month into.
So 4 weeks later?
Right.
4 weeks later, you became close enough to discuss with her a business opportunity?
Yes.
And did you discuss this business opportunity with her in her home or over the phone?
In her home.
So I want you to tell me your version of exactly what you told her.
So I had a friend come to me, and
You had a friend whose name is?
his name's Scott.
Scott what?
I can't remember his last name.
I don't believe you.
Okay.
If it's true, then it didn't happen. If it's true that you can't remember his last name, it's because he doesn't exist.
Oh, he does exist.
Oh, sir, you didn't give all that money to somebody whose last name you don't know. I want you to understand that. Then you're looking at me and saying I must have stupid written on my forehead. You don't look like a stupid man.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, you look like you could be a cunning man, but you don't look like a stupid man. So if Scott doesn't have a last name, he didn't exist. I want you to tell me that's in my brain. In my brain is if you can't come up with a first and last name of somebody that you gave thousands of dollars to, he didn't exist.
Okay, in your mind.
Keep going.
I'm not going to keep going and dig any holes. I'm just telling you what the facts are.
No, those aren't facts, sir. That's a fantasy. You know, you're not mentally challenged in any way, are you?
No?
I want to tell you, if I told my 9-year-old grandchild who asked me for $100 because she wanted to invest it with a friend, I would say, what's the friend's name? I don't know. See, I'm not giving you $100 to invest with somebody whose name you don't know, because I'm absolutely positive that if you said that to her, she would have said, well, what's this person's name? I want you to tell me now, Mr. Sorensen, what was the investment?
It was for Happy Pills.
It was for what?
Happy Pills?
Judy turns to Sarah.
Don't look at me.
Happy? Did you say Happy Pills?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me about it. Tell me what you told her. You want to invest in happy pills. And
Yes,
what she'd say to you, I'm a nurse, so I'm an educated person. What's wrong with you? Okay, keep going. Keep going. I want to invest in happy pills.
Right.
Your friend
So
Scott.
it was a friend of a friend. His name was Scott, okay? And he introduced me to him and said that, hey, he went.
No, you mean Scott introduced you to somebody else?
No, my friend introduced me to Scott. I didn't know his last name, but we knew that he was in the industry.
Okay, so your friend introduced you to Scott.
Yes.
What's your friend's name?
His name is John. I promise.
Where does he live?
He lives in Salt Lake.
What's his telephone number?
I have no idea what his telephone number is.
Just a second, get out your phone and tell me what your friend's telephone number is. Everybody has their friend's number in their phone.
I don't know what his telephone number is.
Then you see why I don't believe you,
not-
sir? Do you understand why I'm having a problem with your story?
It's okay.
Do you understand why I'm having? So a friend whose number you don't have in your phone wanted to introduce you to somebody whose name you don't know to invest in happy pills. And this is what you told her? No, I'm asking you a question. Is this what you told her? I have a friend.
This is what I told her.
John, I have a friend, John, who knows a guy, Scott, who has this company that's going to make happy pills. I just want to know if that's what you're trying to tell me that you told this woman.
I am. It's okay.
Judy glares at James. Caption, coming up.
I don't know why she would make up that story that
No.
my parents gave me.
No. She's not making up the story. You're making up the story.
Okay.
And if I'm wrong about this, I actually don't feel badly, sir, because then you're the dope that got duped.
And later today,
You devalued her car while you had it.
Yeah, okay.
You used the car for 2.5 years that was running. It stopped running because the engine was blown.
Yes.
And then you stopped making the payments on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whitney grins. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Jennifer and James.
Jennifer Anderton claims her former friend, James Sorensen, owes her for a fake $10,000 investment.
Okay, keep going.
You know what happy pills are?
I assume that they make you happy.
Right. Yeah, they are. It's Molly.
I assume that they make you happy.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. And so he went around to festivals and he sold Molly there.
He sold what?
Molly.
Molly's.
MDMA. It's an illegal drug.
Oh, okay. So you told her you wanted her to make an investment with you with a big return on your money.
We talked about this for a long time.
Who did?
Me and...
You couldn't have talked about it for a long time, sir. You only knew her 4 weeks.
Okay.
You only knew her 4 weeks. Tell me about this $10,000. Did you take it out of a savings account? Do you have that from the bank?
Yeah. Right
I'd
here.
like to take a look at it. You want to tell me, Miss Anderson, the circumstances surrounding you transferring $10,000 to him?
He approached me saying that he needed a hard money loan for his business. He had an e-commerce business with supplements. His father and mother had given him the loans in the past, for the past 5 years, and they've gotten a good return. It was a for sure deal. He goes around and this is their festival project time. They make a lot of money doing this.
What does he do?
For supplements.
So he sells supplements?
Yes.
And it was his business? Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes. Did he ever mention a guy, Scott, to you?
No.
It was his business?
Yes.
And he said that his parents had helped him out in the past, had invested with him in the past. So now I understand a little bit better. I see the withdrawal for $10,000. So tell me why he needed a hard money loan.
To buy the product to take to these festivals and
sell them.
Sell them, yes.
Okay.
So he needed it for product.
And when did he tell you that he was going to return this money?
Within a week or two. That it was a week or two of festivals. This was the busy season. He does this every year, and this is a for sure return. And if I did this much amount of money, $5,000, this is how much I'd get back. If I did $10,000, it would be a $15,000 return for me. And I'm like, wow, I could pay off my student loans. I could, yes, do a lot with that.
Okay, so to synthesize what you told me, he told you that this was an investment in his company.
A loan.
A loan, excuse me. A loan for his company for products so that he could go out, sell them for the next several weeks,
Correct.
and you would get a return of 15% on your money.
50%. So a 10.
50? 50? Sounds too good to be true.
Yeah.
has nothing to do with the company.
The Venmo transfer of $2,000 was to him in June,
June 16th of 21,
and a withdrawal of $8,000.
same day.
Okay, now, where did you put that money, sir?
I gave it to Scott.
Okay. Okay. I want to tell you, Mr. Sorensen, you have parents who gave you money?
They have in the
Just a
past,
second.
not as you
just
would
say you
say.
have parents
Not in,
that gave you money.
they did not ever give me money for my business, ever.
What did they give you money for?
Christmas? They never
I'm not talking-
financed for me for anything in my life. Nothing.
Oh, then you lied
I don't know why she would make up that story that
No,
my
no,
parents
no,
gave me.
no. She's not making up the story. You're making up the story.
Okay.
And if I'm wrong about this, I actually don't feel badly, sir, because then you're the dope that got duped.
Oh, absolutely. I know. I'm
Then,
a dope
just a
that got
second,
duped.
that if you gave
not.
money to John, to Scott, then you're the dope that got duped because they were your friends. That's all I have to tell you.
I understand.
That's all. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $10,000. We're finished. Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, James, then Jennifer.
I think it was fair.
I think that was a fair judgment.
We both understood what we were getting into.
No, not until after like 3 or 4 months, and I think he brought that up in fear of me going to the police.
Time to part ways, and definitely learning curves on both ends.
Don't do silly things. It was definitely a learning curve.
I'm glad that things happened the way they did.
Something I'll never do again. And be a little more careful with your money and your investments, and don't trust everybody. I'm too trusting.
Sarah and Judy.
I just find it very funny that his entire business plan, business venture, was selling illegal drugs at festivals. That was the only plan. That was the whole venture. There was no...
That's really what he said.
Whether it was Scott, whether it was John, whether it was
But that was
Joe.
the business plan. That's Happy Pills. Thank you, by the way, for explaining what that was to me.
I didn't understand at first either, but when he said Molly at festivals, it's like, I'm pretty sure that's illegal. I'm pretty sure that's not a business.
Right.
So I'm glad she got her money back.
Me too. Me too. It was a ridiculous.
There was a couple dopes getting duped in that situation.
You're absolutely right.
Case 2107, Breland versus Chenal. All parties, please step forward.
Kashana and Michael Breland are suing Kashana's stepdad, Harry Schnall, for car repairs and damage credit.
Miss Breland, this is your stepfather.
Yes.
That's your dad.
Yes.
This is your claim. He needed a car because his car, which was an old Cadillac, was going in for repair. Your dad had bought you a car in 2018.
Yes.
And when he bought you this car in 2018, it was a 2013 car that you kept 18, 19, and 20?
The vehicle, no. I had the vehicle from 2018 to July 2019.
So just for 1 year?
Yep, July in 2019 was when I made the agreement to give the vehicle to...
Okay. You made the agreement to give it to your stepfather with the proviso, because you were buying a new car, another car.
Yes.
According to you, that he would take over the payments on the car because there was a loan on the car that you were paying off and that your father was a signatory on.
Yes.
And you have children, and I don't know why this car was no good for you anymore, but you said you got another car because of your children.
Yes, I got another vehicle because I had an additional son, and it just wasn't enough room for 3 kids.
What kind of car is it?
It was a GMC Terrain. It's an SUV 5-passenger, but I felt like I needed a little bit more room, so I ended up getting a 7-passenger. That way I could have the 3rd row.
Okay. So according to you, the arrangement was he would take over the payments on the car, and the car would be turned over to him as soon as he finished making the payments on the car.
Yes.
Was that your agreement with him?
Yes, that was our agreement.
And he did make payments on the car in 2019, 2020, 2021, and according to you, he stopped making payments in 2022. What month in 2022?
January 2022 was the last payment I received.
As a result of which, both of your credits were at risk. He dropped the car off at some relative's house because the engine was blown. He had it towed to some relative's house and stopped making the payments.
Yes, that is correct.
Your stepfather says, well, that really wasn't the agreement. My Cadillac wasn't working. It was in the shop in 2019. And the agreement was, while the car was in the shop, I would use your car and pay you $225 a month for it. But as soon as my car was out of the shop, you would take the car back. That's what you say, sir.
Yes. Yeah, I would take it back until my car got fixed. And the only reason it took so long to get fixed because of the pandemic, you know. And
why? People couldn't go into their garage to fix a car?
Yes, they probably could, but at that time, I really didn't have the money to go and pay for it, so I just
Well, that's your problem.
I understand that.
Well, that's your problem. So the car was fixed, but you didn't have the money to go and pick up the car.
No, it wasn't fixed.
Oh.
So I didn't have them fixed until I'd be able to get the money to go have it fixed.
Did you explain that to her, sir, when she gave you the car?
No, see, my agreement thought I was gonna keep the car until my car gets fixed, and I would make the monthly payment. That's what I had.
I understand that, but what...
Yeah.
I understand that,
Okay.
Mr. Chenal.
Yes.
But taking your story, if my stepfather said to me, listen, I'll take your car, I have a car that's in the shop, I'll use it and pay for it while the car's being fixed.
Not what?
In my view, that would be, well, maybe it would take you 2 weeks. Maybe it would take you a month. Maybe it would take you 2 months, but it wouldn't take you 3 years.
Your Honor, what I'm saying, my car wasn't in the shop, my car was broke down. And I told her, I thought we had agreement to me make the payment on that car till I get ready to get
You
my
told me that already.
car fixed. But I didn't put it in the shop till I was able to put it in the shop to get fixed.
You devalued her car while you had it.
Yeah, okay.
You devalued the car. You got a car that was running. You used the car for 2.5 years that was running. It stopped running because the engine was blown.
Yes.
So it was dead stop. You had to have it towed to somebody's house.
Yes.
And then you stopped making the payments on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying.
Right.
Caption coming up.
I think she had a lemon because...
She didn't have a lemon. You drove it for 2 years.
Yes, but I just had got the oil changed in that car a month before the engine blew.
And you drove it for 2 years.
Yes.
Well, then it wasn't a lemon.
Carrie furrows his brow. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Kashana, Michael, and Harry.
Kashana and Michael Breland claimed Kashana's stepdad, Harry Schnall, owes for car repairs and damage credit.
Now, you have to act not only responsibly, but it would seem to me morally. This is your stepdaughter. You've known her for a long time.
Yes.
She went out, based upon her agreement with you, she went out and bought another car.
Yes.
Does the other car have a loan?
Yes.
Well, now she's stuck with 2 loans, and one of them has a car that you blew the engine on.
I made sure the main was up on that car. I think she had a lemon because...
She didn't have a lemon. You drove it for 2 years.
Yes, but I just had got the oil changed in that car a month before the engine blew. I don't know why the engine blew.
How many years did you have the car?
2 years.
And you drove it for 2 years.
Yes.
Well, then it wasn't a lemon.
Okay.
How much was left on the loan of the car?
There is still $3,752.63 owed left on the vehicle.
Okay, and where is the car now?
It is parked at a relative's house.
Your problem is the car is in your name. So you have to sell the car, subject to this lien. You have to be able to get something for the car. Do you understand?
Yes.
What's the value of that car?
Based on 80,000 miles, it didn't say in the papers, but around 7,000 to 9,000.
And what if it's in very poor condition?
I have to look into it.
Take a look and see, because this car so far is not running.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been running for almost now a year.
Yes, that's correct.
So at best you could sell it for scrap. So you have to get the car and you can scrap it because nobody's going to buy it when they can't drive it.
So Kelley Blue Book will not provide an estimate for poor conditions, vehicles that are not running or in poor condition. But for a fair condition, they say between 5,000 and 6,000.
Well, this is non-running.
I know.
It's been not running for a year.
I can't get an estimate for a non-running vehicle from Kelley Blue Book.
So now I know what the parameters are. You want to tell me about where this agreement took place with your stepfather?
The agreement took place at the car lots, because I was in the middle of getting a new vehicle, so we were at the car lot.
So that was in 2019?
July 3rd, 2019.
So you went with him to get the new car?
Yes.
Oh, good. So tell me about the conversation.
So I asked him, I was like, hey, do you think that, because in order for me to get this new vehicle, they said that I had a debt to income ratio thing because I couldn't get a new vehicle with owing money on the other vehicle. So I said, hey, how does this sound? You're down a vehicle because the engine blew on your prior vehicle. How about I give you this car, you finish making the payments on it, and then I get my new vehicle. But in order for me to get my new vehicle, I needed a co-signer. So I said, how about this? How about you co-sign on this new vehicle for me? Yes, my stepfather. You co-sign on this new vehicle for me. I'll make the payments like I always do, and you just take over the payments on my GMC Terrain. He said, okay, yep, we can do that because I need another vehicle.
So he is the co-signatory on your new car?
That at the time, that was the vehicle that I had. I now have a different vehicle.
You mean in 2019 you had yet another car?
Yes. But I made sure that I paid it off and there was no effect to him by any means.
Okay.
Because I knew that, it wasn't just in my name, it was in his name also. So I didn't want to do that to him. So I made sure that not only did I pay the vehicle off, but I got the transmission repaired and then I sold it.
So what does your father have to do with this case?
So my father was affected because with the payments being late.
The car was in my name also.
Oh, so it was in joint
Yes, on the
names, you and your
title.
daughter?
Well, they were supposed to put it as me, the co-signer, but they put me as
The primary.
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Have you been making the payments since January?
I was making payments on it from February to September.
And then what happened?
I couldn't afford to make the payments anymore. I'm a single mom of four kids.
So what happened?
So it's behind now.
Since September?
Yep, it's behind since.
September, October, November. So it's behind 3 months.
Yes.
Had they notified you that they want to repossess it?
No,
they haven't
not repo. They've given us options to try to save our credit after
Okay, I'd like to see what those options are. Did they send it to you in writing?
No.
Did they send you
it
a
was
letter?
verbal on the phone when they called, and we were discussing other options that they may offer to
Okay, so
make
what was the
this so
best
it's not
option
worse.
that they offered you?
The best option that they offered was basically to come up with about $396 to pay to get the car note caught up because it was 4 months behind. The car note's $225 each month. So it wouldn't have got...
So they didn't offer you a whole payout. They just offered you
to catch up.
To catch up.
Yes.
Right.
Okay. But still, what's due and owing on the car is $3,752.
Yes.
Okay. And when your stepfather agreed to that, did he say anything to you with regard to his Cadillac going in for service and he was going to just use it until his Cadillac got...
No, Your Honor, that is incorrect.
Okay. You remember going with your stepdaughter when she was purchasing a new car in 2019?
Yes, I do.
Did you co-sign that car for her?
Yes.
So far what she says is accurate.
Yes.
And at that time, did you take her old car?
Yes.
I have no idea what you can get for this car. And you know how you relied on him to be a good guy and to do what he was supposed to do?
Yes.
I'm awarding you $3,752. That's for you to pay off the bank. Then I don't think you can find a buyer for this car. You may have to scrap it, right?
Yes.
It's possible that there's no point in fixing it. You're not going to invest thousands of dollars in fixing it when it probably is at best worth $5,000. And if it's going to cost you $3,000 to try to get it up and running, it doesn't pay.
11,000.
It doesn't pay. So I'm going to rely on you to do the right thing. It sounds as if you do that while I'm awarding you $3,752, whatever money you get for the car goes to him. Do you understand? If you scrap it for $70, he gets it. I don't see that it's worth much more. I certainly wouldn't invest in a car that's been sitting dead for a year with a blown engine. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,752. We're finished.
This court is adjourned.
Harry, then Kashana and Michael.
I think it was pretty fair.
I think it was very fair.
My agreement, though, I paid for the car until I get my car fixed.
I've tried multiple times to reach out to him, and I couldn't get a hold of him, so it's really sad that it had to come to this.
She had to do what she had to do. That's all I can say.
I've learned that you can't help anyone, not even family.
Time to move on. Go on about my business, yes.
I'm a nice person, so I guess you just sometimes can't be nice to everyone.
You know what's so disappointing? She seems like a very lovely young lady. Her father seems like a nice man. He had actually helped to purchase the first car, and I think co-signed a loan for her or bought her the car in 2018 that she then turned over to him. But he's been her stepfather for a long time. How could you be so irresponsible?
And you know she's a single parent of 4 children who relies a lot on her credit.
And her credit on her car.
And
she's maintained her credit.
Yes, except for the fact that her stepfather sort of ruined it for her a little.
He really didn't have a defense.
No.
I don't think he had a defense. I don't think that you borrow somebody's car until your car is fixed 3 years later. I don't think that that's a defense.
Title, Judy Justice.
Are you having a family dispute? Go to judyjustice.tv.
You were out walking the family dog.
Yes. The pit bull latched onto my dog, and my dog was squealing a lot.
My dog is not vicious. She likes to play with little dogs.
Clearly not on this day. She didn't like to play with other dogs.
This is Judy Justice is suing her neighbor, Heather Stevens, for vet bills and pain and suffering after a dog attack.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches the bench.
Hello, Judge. Case 2139, Stevens versus Stevens.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Although your names sound the same, they're spelled differently, and you are clearly not related based upon this case. You live in the same general area.
Yes.
Okay. Could you step up?
A young woman.
Tell me your name.
Emily Feringer,
This is your daughter.
Yes.
How long have you been living in your house?
8.5 years.
How old are you?
22.
Tell me what you do.
I work at a bakery right now, and I'm a full-time college student.
Where do you go to school?
Idaho State University.
You were out walking the family dog.
Yes, I was.
Family has one dog?
Just one, yeah.
What kind of dog?
It's a miniature schnauzer.
Weighs about 10, 12 pounds?
Yeah, around there, 15-ish.
How old is the dog?
He is 9.
You've had him since he was a puppy?
Yes.
This case has to do with injuries that your dog sustained.
Yes.
And the payment of vet bills by the defendant, who you allege has 2 dogs unleashed that attacked your dog while you were walking.
Correct.
Him.
Just one dog.
One dog.
One.
One dog attacked our dog.
You have a pit bull.
Yes, ma'am.
What color?
White and brown.
How old?
She's 5.
Is that the only dog you have?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Tell me what date you were walking the dog that this incident happened.
July 26, 2021.
Time.
Around 8 p.m.
Dark?
No.
Still light out.
Yes, ma'am.
Were you walking in the neighborhood?
I was walking down the sidewalk, and I passed the defendant's house, and I reached the end of the sidewalk.
Your dog's name is what?
Jax.
On a leash?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you always walk the dog on a leash?
We do.
Tell me what happened.
I was walking down the sidewalk, and I reached the end of the sidewalk. I was about to cross the street, and...
Do you have a picture or diagram?
I do. I
where
have a
this
diagram.
happened? May I see it, please? Oh, okay. There it is. Would you go over to the diagram so that you can point directly and I can understand where this happened?
A map of the street corner.
I was standing right here, and I noticed the dog come up on my left side.
On your left side?
Yes.
Did you notice from where the dog came?
It seemed to be out in the street when it approached me.
So it didn't come from the defendant's house, it came from the street?
Yes. It had been on the left-hand side of me. And then the pit bull latched onto my dog on its leg.
What color pit bull?
Brown and white.
Was there any fighting or a scuffle before?
No, ma'am. It just ran up to me, and it latched onto my dog's leg, and it picked my dog up and was yanking it around in the air. And it was very loud, and my dog was squealing a lot and crying out very loudly, so I yanked his leash so that I didn't have to bend down and get hurt myself. And I picked him up, and I ran back.
So you yanked him up by his leash?
I did.
Okay. Did he have what kind of a collar on? A regular collar or one of those harnesses?
We have both, so I'm not sure which one he was wearing at that time, but I believe he was wearing the collar.
Just the collar?
Yes.
So you lifted him up by the collar?
Yes.
Did you see where the dog went?
I do not remember. I think the pit bull ran back into the defendant's household.
But you're not sure?
I'm not sure.
What did you do next?
We took the dog to the animal hospital.
Okay. You can go back now.
Emily rejoins Audrey at the plaintiff's table.
Stand close to you. Had you ever seen this dog before?
I have.
Where had you seen the dog before?
I've seen the pit bull in multiple places around the neighborhood. I've seen it across...
That same dog?
Yes. I've seen it across the street in that across the street neighbor's yard, and I've also seen it in my yard, and it's also been next to my chain link fence before.
Did you or you, Ms. Stevens, ever have a conversation with the defendant about the dog being unleashed?
I have not spoken to her at all.
For how long have you seen her unleashed dog out and about?
Probably about 10 times.
Have you ever said anything to your mother about seeing this dog outside?
I have.
Okay. I'm listening.
Yes, ma'am. May I show you on the
Absolutely.
On the diagram? Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay. First of all,
No, don't tell me first of all.
Okay.
Were you there at approximately
Yes.
8 p.m.
Yes, I
on
was.
July 26th?
correct, I was.
Okay, where were you? Show me where you were.
I was right here. I was loading a fridge into my home. I had my dog right here in the middle of the driveway, chained to the fence, okay? She came from across the crosswalk here, because I have a witness as well to show. She came from the crosswalk with her dog in front of her. She came across right into my driveway. The dog went into my driveway, and my dog went up to her, and they began to fight.
You're going like this.
Yes.
You're going like this. I don't want you to go like this.
Okay.
So your dog was on a chain.
Yes, ma'am.
A chain that extended almost to the end of your driveway.
Correct.
So show me exactly with your finger.
Okay, yes.
Where you say this confrontation between the pit bull and the schnauzer took place.
Right here, ma'am.
Well, you're pointing to about a well, now you keep moving your finger.
Right here.
Heather points at the end of her driveway. Caption coming up.
You know that I don't believe that your dog hasn't been out and about in the neighborhood, unleashed.
No, ma'am. I don't let my dog off a leash.
We do have pictures of the dog as well, if you'd like to see those.
Oh, do you?
We
Yes.
You mean out and about?
Yes.
Oh, I'd like to see that.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Audrey, Emily, and Heather.
Audrey Stevens claims her neighbor, Heather Stevens, owes for vet bills after her dog was injured by Heather's pit bull.
Now you're moving your finger. So you're saying it's right at the end of your driveway.
Yes, ma'am.
Just a second. It was up further 5 seconds ago.
Okay,
Now
my dog was right here,
yeah,
ma'am.
Yeah.
The fight occurred right here.
Well, now your finger is at a different place, madam. I'm
Well-
just letting you know your finger moves up the driveway.
Right, I'd say right here.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Heather returns to the defendant's table.
You know that I don't believe that.
I know you don't believe that,
You,
Your Honor, but
you
that's
know,
what happened.
you know that I don't believe that your dog hasn't been out and about in the neighborhood. Do you know that I don't believe that? I don't think she's lying to me that your dog's been out and about in the neighborhood. Unleashed.
No, ma'am. I don't let my dog off a leash.
We do have pictures of the dog as well, if you'd like to see those.
Oh, do you?
We
Yes.
You mean out and about?
Yes.
Oh, I'd like to see that.
And this is after.
Shh.
Sorry.
I don't care before or after.
Yeah.
She just said, I don't let my dog go out without a leash.
Well, this is the injury.
Audrey hands photos to Kevin, who brings them to Judy. She looks at 2 photos of an unleashed pit bull.
Ms. Stevens, these pictures belie the fact that your dog is out, leashed only. Do you want to see the photograph?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Kevin brings the photos to Heather, who reviews them.
Yes, Your Honor, I do see that, but I was outside with my dog at that time.
I don't care whether you were outside with your dog or not. You said your dog is never out without a leash. That's not true. That's not true. Were you a witness to this?
Yes, ma'am.
Be very careful. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
A woman rises.
Tell me your name.
My name is Karen Brennan.
Are you a neighbor?
No, I am a friend.
A friend of whose?
Of Heather Stevens.
Go ahead.
Well, on that day.
On what day?
On July 26, I was helping Heather with the fridge.
With what?
With the refrigerator. And I was approaching the driveway.
Just a second. You were helping her with the refrigerator doing what?
Bringing the dolly out so it can be moved.
Bringing the dolly out from where?
From the side of the house.
And?
And I looked over and I saw the little dog and it caught my eye.
You saw what?
The little dog. And it caught my eye because every time before, anytime I would put the dog out, Miss Stevens' dog, that little dog, if it was in the backyard, would continually bark at.
Just a second. Did you put the dog out that day?
No, I did not that day. But I recognized the dog.
So you did not put the dog out?
No.
That day?
Not that day.
Okay. What time did you get to Miss Stevens' house?
Mid-afternoon.
What's her dog's name?
Lily.
Was Lily chained to the fence all afternoon?
When we were...
Was Lily chained to the fence all afternoon? That's either a yes or a no. When you were there. That's either a yes or a no. Was Lily chained to the fence all afternoon when you were there? You said you got there mid-afternoon. This happened at 8 o'clock. Was the dog chained to the fence all the time you were there? Yes or a no? Or I don't know. No.
No.
Where was the dog?
In the backyard.
Until what time?
Until around 7-ish, or so. I don't know the exact time, but it was mid-evening.
Okay, and what happened at that time when the dog was moved from the backyard outside of the backyard? Who moved the dog?
We went to go get the refrigerator.
No. Who moved the dog?
Heather did.
She took the dog from the backyard.
Yes.
Just a second. To the backyard to the driveway, just to the driveway, because that's where she pointed out that the dog was chained to the driveway fence.
Yes. When we came back from we went to go get the refrigerator.
Just a minute. Well, you didn't tell me, so you left the house.
Yes.
What time did you leave the house?
Mid-afternoon. It was like.
What time?
Approximately 4 or 5.
Okay, and the dog at that time was where?
With us in the vehicle.
So you had the dog in the car, so the dog was in the backyard.
Yes.
And then from the backyard, the dog went with you in the car.
Correct.
And then what?
And then we picked up the refrigerator, and we came back, and then she had chained her.
Okay, so from the car, the dog went to the fence, which is chained sort of midway up the fence, according to the defendant, sort of midway up the driveway.
Correct.
Is where she chained the dog.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Then where did you go?
And then I went to go get the dolly and bring it around so we could get the fridge
Okay,
out.
and where did Miss Stevens stay?
She was in the driveway.
And it was when you were coming out of the backyard that you saw Miss Stevens in the driveway?
Yes.
And saw the little dog?
Yes.
She was in the driveway. Was she next to the dog? Go over there and point out where she was, would you, in the driveway?
Karen points at the driveway.
She was.
She, Miss Stevens?
That Miss Stevens, yes.
Your friend?
Yes.
Was right in the middle of the driveway, near where the dog was chained?
Yes.
And show me where the defendant's house is, because you had been in the house earlier that day. Point on that diagram where the house is.
Right here.
Where it says defendant.
Yes.
That's the whole house. And where's the front door?
Right here.
Up there. And where's the porch on the front door?
Right there.
Okay. Now, that's not where she was. She was in the driveway.
Correct.
Okay, now go back. Now I'm going to read to you what your friend Miss Stevens wrote and swore to in her answer. I was standing on the porch, maneuvering the fridge inside, and I saw a little dog sniffing around and walking up my driveway. She said she was on the porch.
Well, she was back.
That's where she said she was, on the porch. I know the plaintiff's dog is a barker since it has come to the backside of my property and barked at my dog through the fence. The dog walked all the way up the driveway to where my dog was. Now, you want to think back? Miss Stevens says she was standing on the porch. You were very certain she was standing mid-driveway right near her dog. Which one is it?
Well, we were trying to maneuver the fridge, so we were back and forth.
No. Which one is it? Was she on the porch, which is all the way at the other end?
Yes.
Or was she mid-driveway?
Mid-driveway.
She was mid-driveway. So Miss Stevens lied when she said she was on the porch.
Caption, coming up.
I didn't look at a police report. I listened to you.
Yes, Your Honor.
And I listened to your witness.
Yes.
And you and the witness that you brought told two divergent stories, two totally different stories. She was your witness.
Heather's eyes widen. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Audrey, Emily, Heather, and Karen.
Audrey Stevens is accusing her neighbor, Heather Stevens, of losing control of her pit bull. Heather claims Audrey's dog ran onto her property.
So Miss Stevens lied when she said she was on the porch. That's what she says in her answer. I was on the porch when this happened. You understand? Do you understand?
Yes.
Sit.
Karen sits.
Can I see your vet bills, please?
Your Honor, I have a video of my dog. Can we present the video that I have brought?
You mean for that day?
Yes, ma'am. No, not for that day. No, not for that day, but just to show you that my dog is not vicious. That she likes to play with little dogs.
Clearly not on this day. She didn't like to play with other dogs.
That dog is constantly barking at my dog in the backyard, and that's the only, my dog loves dogs. I have obedient record.
Miss Stevens.
Yes.
I want you to understand something.
Yes, ma'am.
Whether the Schnauzer is a barker or not a barker, I told you, I didn't believe you when you told me that her dog was off leash. I didn't believe that. Either you or your witness lied. I don't know which one. So I'm going to have to assume it was your witness. Do you want me to assume it was your witness or you? So one of you lied. She says you were in a totally different place. She was coming out from the backyard. That's where she was. She had gone to get the dolly. You said you were maneuvering the refrigerator up on the porch.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, who is telling me the truth? You want to tell me?
It was a very hectic day.
It was a very hectic day.
Yeah.
And I have photographs of your dog, despite the fact that you tell me that your dog is never off leash, always on leash. I have 3 photographs taken 3 different times of your dog being off leash. Now, there's no question that your dog caused the injuries to the dog.
This has been going on for over a year in court. They dismissed it in criminal court, and there's a reason why they dismissed it.
Just a second.
Yes,
You're going to try to tell me why they dismissed the case in criminal court? You have a document. I mean, I understand that they filed a criminal case against you.
There was a criminal case that was dismissed, Your Honor.
That's okay. That has nothing to do with this civil proceeding. You know, somebody may not want to put you in jail because you let your pit bull roam around without a leash. Somebody may not want to put you in jail, but you are clearly responsible for this dog's injuries. You are. If you have a pit bull, and pit bulls can be dangerous dogs, they can turn on a dime and cause serious injury. Pit bull lovers, I don't want to hear from you. I've been going through it for 25 years. Some of them are nice. Some of them are not nice. But when they're not nice and they turn, they have configurations that can cause a great deal of injury. One killed a woman who was babysitting for it.
I understand you.
So you do understand.
I believe, may I say something? I believe that a dog is how it was raised, okay? I've raised that dog from a baby. She's never been mean like that. That dog that lives next door, which is Miss Stevens' dog, yaps at my dog every single day. She goes outside, yaps, 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 yaps at her.
So what you're telling me is your dog, so if what you're telling me is that your dog had the right to be aggravated because the dog yaps at her all the time, that's not a reason to let any dog, but especially a dog that has potential to cause injury, out without a leash. And you do that regularly, and you can't do that.
Your Honor, can I also add that I did have a brief interaction with Miss Stevens on the day that it occurred, and it seemed like she did come out of the street with the dog. I don't believe she was in the driveway. She offered help for me.
She did?
Yes, before I went home.
And
where was
not
she?
To interrupt, but we also have video of her acknowledging fault with the officer's body cam video.
What is that?
They have a body cam on when he was talking to her, when she said she's really sorry and she's going to pay the vet bill.
Oh, may I see that, please?
Body cam footage.
Getting ready to take her for a walk. We were moving in a fridge.
Oh, okay.
And she jumped out of the car when she seen that little dog, because I was getting ready to get in the car and
Gotcha.
right on the corner here.
Okay. So were they just across the street then?
No, they were right here.
They were just right here on the sidewalk. Okay.
I'm going to pay the bill, I know, and whatever I got to do.
Yeah, so she's down at the clinic now.
It was a bite on him, on the shoulder, I think.
On the shoulder?
Yeah.
Okay.
And she was just protecting me.
Sure.
That's all. And I'll pay the bill.
That you're responsible
And I want to
for, so-
apologize.
Sure.
I feel bad. I do feel bad about it. I do love dogs. I'm a dog lover. And I do feel bad. And I believe she just said, the defendant just said that she was in the street when that happened. It was in my driveway that happened, Your Honor. I'm just saying, we want to be honest.
Was your dog on a chain?
My dog was on a chain, Your Honor. Another thing, I never got my side of the story added to that at all. It was all one-sided. The whole police report was one-sided, Your Honor.
I didn't look at a police report,
I have
madam.
one right here.
Just a second. I didn't look at a police report. I listened
It's
to
all
your.
one-sided.
I listened to you.
Yes, Your Honor.
And I listened to your witness.
Yes.
And you and the witness that you brought told 2 divergent stories, 2 totally different stories. She was your witness.
Yes.
Easily confused, but she was your witness. And you should have prepared her better, consistent with what your answer was. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor. I wasn't trying to.
Very, very good. Okay. Pain and suffering, unfortunately, is not yours. If you had had injury to yourself, and I think that the law is a little crazy there, but we can gauge pain and suffering for an animal. Anyway, your vet bills were $435.
Your Honor, we just added that just because,
I understand.
Blatant disregard and the dog's still out all the time.
Oh, no, excuse me. The total with tax was $441. Judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Emily, then Karen and Heather.
It's been a struggle just because of how long it's been going on.
It was a crazy day.
The dog almost got to our dog's leg bone and broke it.
Because the dog is always jumping at my dog.
It was pretty scary.
So it surprised me that that happened.
He was bleeding and everything.
She's not vicious whatsoever.
We ran him up to the hospital.
The animal control never get in my house.
I had a feeling that Judy would see right through her, so.
I love dogs, and I felt sorry for the little dog.
I'm happy about the settlement and how we got our money.
Judy and Sarah.
I'm not even going to get on my soapbox with regard to dogs that are potentially dangerous. There's no question that this lady has a dog that she's had from a puppy, and the dog has never caused her any difficulty, but there's also no question that she lets that dog out without a leash.
I mean, they had proof of different occasions of the dog out and about.
After this happened.
After this incident.
After this incident.
So you can, I think that's also a great lesson, that you can feel bad and be an animal lover and want to take care of the bill. But if you don't take any subsequent remedial measures to fix your bad behavior that caused this great deal of injury, then I don't really believe you that you feel sorry or that you're a dog lover. Because,
well, that's an interesting perspective.
Yeah, I mean, you knew what you had to do to ensure the safety of the dogs and other people in your neighborhood, and you chose not to do that. So
after it had already had an incident.
Exactly.
At least one.
Yeah.
Title, Judy Justice.
Want justice? Go to judyjustice.tv.
He created a song, you transcribed it to guitar.
That is correct.
Your contract doesn't prevent him from using it, sir.
It should say it in the, not that one. Not that one either, the other one.
You got 5 more minutes of my time.
This is Judy Justice. He's suing musician Luther Fortenberry for breach of contract and copyright infringement.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judge Judy enters.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches.
Hello, Judge. Hi. Case 2081, Kepper versus Fortenberry.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Judy turns to Charles.
Mr. Kerper, it is your claim that the defendant breached a contract with you. The contract was a verbal contract. And the nature of that breach was the defendant envisioned in his mind the lyrics to a song. That was his business. And he asked, according to you, he asked you to put music to the lyrics. Am I understanding that correctly?
The latter part is true. However, it was more than just a verbal contract. It's also in writing.
Okay, I'm going to take a look at it.
Okay.
That's important. And according to your complaint, you did in fact write the music
Correct.
to his lyrics.
That is correct.
And you had an agreement in writing that you would share the profits of any exploitation of that song.
That is correct.
With him.
Yes.
And that he breached that agreement.
Yes, there was also an agreement that he would give me proper credit whenever he was using that.
So now I would like to see, if you say there was a written contract that's signed by both parties, that's what I want to see.
Okay, so this was the original version, which he offered me 25%.
Just a second.
Sorry.
A document.
Okay, this contract is pretty straightforward, and it's signed by both parties, and it says Luther Winston Fortenberry created a song, Baby I Got a Gun, and Charles Kerper, that's you, transcribed it to guitar.
Correct.
So what this contract says, I just want you to understand, Mr. Kerper, is that the defendant created the song, and you transcribed it to guitar. That's what it says. And that was written in January of 2016.
Correct.
It's signed by both people.
That is correct.
Okay. Now, what you're showing me is something else.
How it started to change over time.
Listen to me. This was your written contract.
Right.
Any change in that contract, unless I could really find that there was a meeting of the minds with regard to it, has to be in the same formality of this contract. This initial contract is very clear. It does not say that you created this music. I'm telling you what this initial contract says. By the way, Mr. Fortenberry, this contract was written January 30th, 2016.
Yes, I'm looking at it.
Yes. When did you create this song? In what month and year?
About a year. I don't know exactly, but I was at a popular
Comedy Store and the manager of our show.
What show?
The Ding Dong Show.
What's the Ding Dong Show? When you said our show, is he involved in that?
Just with this transcription.
I was involved with other elements of the music as well with Mr. Fortenberry.
Well, right now this says transcribe. And what I asked you, a simple question, when did you write this song?
At least a year before this contract.
At least a year before January 30th, 2016.
Yes. And I was singing it regularly a cappella at the club.
Okay. But you asked him to transcribe it. That's what it says. Now, this was done at the time that you transcribed it to guitar.
I would argue I'd never transcribed it because...
Just a second. That's what this says. It doesn't say will transcribe it. It said transcribed it.
Correct.
To a guitar that they both agreed to submit for sale.
Correct.
Asking price will be $10,000 to rent and $10 million to sell it outright, and you will split it 75-25. That's what this says.
That is correct.
Now, did you ever rent it?
I never rented it or sold it.
Just a sec. Well, I'm asking you these questions. You never rented it?
No.
And $10 million to sell it outright, and you never sold it?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So it was neither rented nor sold, which was your original contract. And you have no proof to the contrary, that he neither rented it nor sold it.
I have evidence that he did use it in other
It doesn't say that you can't use it.
Right, that is correct.
Okay, now you want to show me, sir, because this is what your action is, you want to show me that this original agreement was somehow modified
Correct.
to give you a wider berth.
This is correct.
Okay, so I'd like to see what you have in writing.
Okay. So immediately after that was signed, about 4 or 5 days later, you have the papers that's stapled behind. I confronted Mr. Fortenberry and I said, this is not a transcribing project. This is a rewriting project. What he provided to me was not usable for transcription. And on the next page, we have a text message exchange that I highlighted where he
just a second. Shh.
Sorry.
Well, this is a text message from him to you.
Correct. And he
right?
acknowledged.
And just a second, that's not acknowledging. That's a text message from him to you. Do you have your response to this? You can't unilaterally change a contract that's in writing. I mean, if you have an offer and an acceptance.
Right.
So where is your response to this?
I don't believe I had a response in the history of messages I was able to retrieve, so.
Then this is irrelevant.
Okay.
So far, we have this. We have a writing signed by both parties, which is complete. It says what you did, what you will be paid in the event of a rental or a sale. Now, you want to show me something else?
So going forward, what he did was he registered the song with a registration company in San Diego. He did that without my knowledge.
Just a second, that's irrelevant. This is your contract. Show me where it's a violation of this contract. This contract says you transcribed it to guitar. If the version that you transcribed with a guitar is either rented or sold, you will get 25% of the revenue.
Right.
So we already went through that. You do not have any proof that he either rented it or sold it. It doesn't say that you will be given credit. It doesn't say what your credit will be. If you have a modification where he agreed that you will get certain credit and you accepted that, I will see that.
Charles with a document.
Okay.
This is the most recent agreement signed in August 21st, 2018. It's dated August 8th.
Kevin brings the document to Judy, who reviews it.
I don't know what this means. Mr. Kerper agrees to release Mr. Fortenberry from any financial liability for work performed prior to the date of this document, that is prior to 2018.
Correct.
Payment by Mr. Fortenberry to Mr. Kerper will be considered compensation for his time, costs, etc. Mr. Kerper has invested in this ongoing project to date. What did he pay you? Because it doesn't say here.
He didn't pay me anything. What he did was he gave me some camera equipment, which he'd promised me, which was outside of this project. And he gave me $300 as what was deemed a celebratory gift because we were wrapping this up to make
That's
a
not what
video.
this says, Mr. Kerper. Mr. Kerper, we read a contract literally.
Right.
This is a poorly crafted document, but it's clear in regards to baby, I got a gun.
Right.
Mr. Kerper, that's you, agrees to release Mr. Fortenberry of any financial liability for work performed prior to the date of this document.
Correct.
Payment by Mr. Fortenberry to Mr. Kerper will be considered compensation for time, costs Mr. Kerper has invested in this ongoing project. And what you're telling me is the payment was some camera equipment and $300.
I would say it was not the camera equipment, it was the $300.
What the camera equipment?
This is some camera equipment I had. I had sold him some of it prior, and he had offered it back to me as a gift because I had invested so much work into this project.
Judy looks at her watch, then glares at Charles.
You got 5 more minutes of my time.
Okay.
You have no case.
I believe I do, ma'am.
No.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Sorry, you don't.
Caption, coming up.
You want him to say, whenever he performs the song, I wrote this song together with Mr. Kerper, and I want you to understand that he's the music man. I don't know what a music man is. It's interesting when people sign contracts and they have no idea what they're doing.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Charles and Luther.
Charles Kerper claims musician Luther Fortenberry owes for breach of contract and copyright infringement.
Now, those are the 2 written contracts. You have any further modification of those contracts in writing?
Yes,
Just a second. I'll see them.
Okay.
This is a contract in writing, 2018. This is 2016. And this was agreed by both parties. So the last agreement was you got $300. Did you pay him $300?
$300 in camera equipment, about $1,500 worth.
Okay. He started to mention that, and then he backtracked. Okay. Next written contract after 2018.
Yes, in that contract which you have right now, it also says it serves to clarify previous misunderstandings that
Yes.
I wrote the music and I was not a transcriptionist.
Mr. Kerper is to be understood as the music man behind the music and not a transcriptionist. Well, who do you want that to be noted by? Mr. Kerper is to be understood as the music man with capital letters.
Right.
And I don't know what that means.
This was his wording.
Well, then you should have fixed the wording.
I should have, you're correct.
I don't know what a music man is. It's not a trademark, it's not a copyright, it's a nothing. I don't know what it means.
So I wrote the music, which is in the version which he's using currently. I wrote that from scratch. There was no transcribing.
That doesn't say that. Nothing here says that. The only thing this says is Luther Winston created this song, Baby I Got Gun. That says he created it, you signed it. You wanted to clarify it, you wanted to be known as the music man, not just the transcriber. I don't know what music man means. And you got paid pursuant to this, although it doesn't say this, but you acknowledge it, you got paid $300.
Okay, also in that agreement, it also says that I'll be given credit in future uses. It says that.
As the music man. You want him to say you're the music man?
Credit, which he did not give me
Just
credit.
a second. You want him to say, whenever he performs the song, Baby You Got Gun, if he gets up to perform that, I wrote this song together with Mr. Kerper, and I want you to understand that he's the music man. It's interesting when people sign contracts and they have no idea what they're doing. Okay, let me see the next contract that you have.
So this is an agreement which is supposed to be a performance agreement with his producer from the comedy club.
Well, just a second, let me take a look at it.
He's...
Shh.
Judy reviews the document.
Well, this is exactly what this says. This says this agreement, and this is August of 2018. And who sent this, by the way?
Mr. Fortenberry sent that to me.
Okay, it said this agreement gives Luther the right to perform music as the opportunity arises. Luther is further released of any further financial responsibility or debt owed making music. Charlie Kerper will be referred to in the future as the music man. This payment will be for goods and costs making music for $300 and camera equipment. If any referral is made in the future as to who wrote and performed parts of said music above, Charlie Kerper will be given those credits.
Correct.
Okay? He sent that to you. Where is your response?
So he sent that back to me on August 8th.
Just a second.
Okay.
He sent this to you. So I would like to see your response to this. I agree to your terms. I disagree with your terms. If you agree with the terms, then I might accept that as a modification of a contract. If you say I disagree with the terms, then there is no modification. We go back to these 2 signed agreements.
Correct.
Where is your response to that?
Can I explain what happened after that? He's emailed that to me. I was here, and LA, and I didn't have an opportunity to entirely go over it, but we were trying to meet with him at a restaurant and also at the museum to have this resolved. So I had my phone only to look at it, and he was playing hardball with me that day. So he sent me these emails saying he had signed these agreements, which included making referral to me and clarifying that I did in fact write the music, which he claims I transcribed.
I need your response to him. If
Okay.
there is no response, we have these two agreements.
So the response was this. That night, he finally agreed to meet with us.
In writing.
Yes.
I want what you sent to him in response to this email.
Well, I called him on the phone and I said, can we meet so we can sign this and put this past so the music video could be moved forward? And he wanted a performance agreement so there wasn't any questions whether or not they could use the music in the video. So I arrived at his apartment. He made us wait outside for half an hour.
Okay, you
When
know,
we came down-
Mr. Kerper, I really don't care.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's not relevant.
Yeah.
What's relevant is if you had a subsequent offer and acceptance to a new contract, a modified contract that he made via email, and you responded to him via email that I accept those terms, or if you sent it to him and said, these are the terms I want, and he wrote back and I accept your terms, unless you have that, you are bound by these two written contracts, which means you got paid. You got paid $300 and some equipment. You got paid. And according to this contract, when referring to this music and referring to you, he has to refer to you as in capital letters, the music man.
Correct, giving me credit, correct.
No, he has to refer to you as the music man.
It says here in this contract, I'm sorry, if any referrals made in the future as to who wrote and performed parts of said music above, Charlie Kerper will be given those credits. It
Yeah,
does
as the
not
music
say-
man.
No, it does not say music man here.
Where?
It should say it in the, not that one. Not that one either, the other one.
There's no other, I only have two written contracts.
This is his original email to me that he sent me before the contract
I don't
we're
want-
discussing, and it
just-
has my response. I have my response attached to it here. I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Charles hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
Who wrote, your offer is hostile and very lowball for what you're asking?
I wrote that.
I reject it.
Absolutely.
I'm not interested in selling.
That is correct.
Well, that doesn't modify. That means he made you a subsequent offer
Correct.
after these two agreements. You said, I don't like that offer.
That
So
is
there was
correct.
no change in these two written contracts,
Right.
one of which called for payment, which you acknowledge you received in the form of $300 and camera equipment.
Caption, coming up.
He was limited to using it on one particular program, and he's used it in other places. And I said, Shh, put your hand down. When it doesn't appear that you're losing, you're supposed to keep your mouth closed.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Charles and Luther.
Charles Kerper is accusing musician Luther Fortenberry of breaking their contract. Luther claims he already paid Charles for his services.
Mr. Kerper, I want you to understand, you're looking at papers. What you're not understanding is, if you are going to modify a written contract, you have to do it with another contract in which there is an offer and an acceptance. He made an offer to you
Yes.
in this. You rejected the offer in your response.
Actually, that email he sent first, he worded it differently, and that's
It
the point
doesn't
I'm
matter,
trying to
you
make.
rejected it.
I rejected the part that included the sale.
Just a second. You can't take pieces of what he says. If you're going to modify a contract which is clear, or as clear as it can be if two lay people write it, and which has been executed and fulfilled by terms of payment, because there was an exchange of cash and goods, which is indicated in here, you have to have a modified contract.
Correct.
This is not a modified contract. He says to you, this is what I'm going to do, and you said to him, I reject it. It's a low-ball offer. So we're going to get back to, is there a subsequent modification that says, in addition to the $300 and the camera equipment and the fact that I will refer to you if I refer to anyone when he's singing the song, which I've never heard. I've heard of patter, you know, where somebody talks about patter, and so-and-so wrote the song, and he wrote it when he was mourning the death of his dog, and then sings the song. You know, that's patter. That's what I understand patter is, the chatter before. So if he was going to chatter about who wrote the song, he'd have to say, and the man behind the music is Mr. Music Man. That's all this says. And he's never sold it, and he's never rented it that you can establish.
He has used it in film production?
He can use it. Your contract doesn't prevent him from using it, sir.
The final, I'm sorry, but the first one I gave you is the final. That was what led up to the...
No, this is a clarification, because you asked, right? And this is your final payment, $300, and camera equipment, because that's what you both agree that you got. There is no modification.
There is, though.
Well, then show me.
On the top line of the final, it says it'll be used exclusively in the Ding Dong Show and nowhere else without permission, and that is what is...
Just a second. It says this agreement gives Luther Burbanry the right to perform name music in the Ding Dong Show and the promotional video.
Correct.
And?
That's it.
So?
So that is what he's limited to as far as performance.
Okay, and?
And he went and used my music in other productions without consulting me. Okay.
Charles flips through a pile of documents.
I also have lyric sheets showing that...
Listen to me, sir.
Yes.
I've already explained to you what this case is about. It's a contract case.
Okay.
I'm not going to go through contracts 1 and contracts 2. It was painful enough when I went through it the first time, half a century ago.
Yeah.
What I'm telling you is you have no modification of a contract unless there's an offer and acceptance. The only 2 contracts you have are here. I absolutely read this, and it says this agreement gives Luther Fortenberry the right to perform music named in the Ding Dong Show and promotional video.
Correct.
That's what it says. You say he used it in other places.
That is correct.
There's no remedy if he uses it in other places. You only have a remedy, sir, if he sells it or rents it. And you're not asking for injunctive relief. There's no action.
What he did with it, to be honest.
What?
I don't know what he's done. I've asked him for a complete statement of where he's used this and what payment.
Mr. Carper.
Yes.
You're the plaintiff.
Yes.
It's not his burden. It's your burden. What you're saying is he was limited to using it on one particular program, according to this, and promotional. And he's used it in other places. And I said, put your hand down. When it doesn't appear that you're losing, you're supposed to keep your mouth closed.
Luther zips his lips.
It's your burden to show me that he used it in other places. That's first.
Okay.
Show me.
I can do that. Just, I have the papers. I had it quite orderly before I came into court, and its nerves happen.
You can look for it, sir. I'm just advising you that your action is for breach of contract. That's what you filed. Right now, I have 2 contracts. One contract was fulfilled with the payment of $300 and camera equipment. There is an agreement here, however, that says he can use that music on certain things. It doesn't say exclusively on certain things. He says he can use it on the Ding Dong Show and promotional video. I assume promotional video, if you're inferring what that means, is for the Ding Dong Show. Now, it doesn't say it. If he uses the music someplace other than the Ding Dong Show and promotional video and he gets paid for it, I get a certain amount of money. Your original contract provides for a 75-25 split if the music is rented or sold.
Right.
That's what it provides for.
So when I accepted the payment on the contract, that was with the notion that he was going to give me credit in the future, which he has not done.
Okay, we're done here, Mr. Kerper. It's unfortunate, but you are bound by the terms of this contract. The terms of the contract are absolutely clear. You have one in 2018, and you have one in 2016. The one in 2016 is crystal clear. You're a transcriber, and as a transcriber, you will get 25% if the music is either rented or sold. Subsequently, there was a writing that says you don't want to be known as the transcriber, you want to be known as the music man.
Your Honor, I did not transcribe anything. I wrote the music,
okay.
and that's why
Mr.
the
Carper, we're done. You got paid
paper-
$300 for writing the music and camera equipment. We're done. Your case is dismissed.
This court is adjourned.
Mr. Fortenberry approached me to transcribe a piece of music he
Well, I'm sorry she had to listen to so many lies.
presented me as completed, which it was not.
And I'm glad she had something in print like contracts.
I helped develop the lyrics further and also write the music.
I hoped that he would see the truth
Well, there's always more songs, isn't there?
and correct his lies.
Sarah.
While I really appreciate that these two plaintiff and defendants had a written contract, it's always a risk as a layperson to write a contract yourself. It has to be fully integrated, all the points have to be hit, and one major part that was lacking here was a remedy section. So if the plaintiff is claiming that he deserves some sort of credit or some sort of payment for a show or an exploitation of the song going forward, there needs to be a sentence, at least, that's a meeting of the minds as to what's going to happen if that condition is not met. In the future.
In the future, because the contract, the second contract in 2018, clearly said he was paid. And he was paid.
He signed it.
And he signed it. He was paid $300 and some camera equipment. The defendant said it was worth $1,500. I don't know whether it was or it wasn't. Anyway, it was inartfully done. You have to give them credit for trying.
Yes.
For trying. You know, they're music people. They're artists.
Yeah. Language and specifics and details is more our forte as lawyers.
More important, it's so frightening that I think I have a memory somewhere back here of the Ding Dong Show. So I'm going in the back now and look up the Ding Dong Show.
Well, I'd like to hear that origin story.
Title: Judy Justice.
Want justice? Go to judyjustice.tv.
You had a kerfuffle with him.
He was my friend. I apologize, but I'm emotional.
Well, don't get emotional. It's a sad thing, but I need facts and information.
We went to the same high school, played on the same high school basketball team.
You're not paying attention to me, sir.
This is Judy Justice. Marshall and Kai Booker are suing their former employer, Gary Zephyrin, for unpaid wages.
Judge Judy enters the courtroom.
Court come to order. All rise.
She sits at the bench.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches.
Hello, Judge. Case number 2071, Booker Marshall versus Zephyrin.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Zephyrin?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Zephyrin, you're being sued by these two people because they say they worked for you delivering packages, I believe, of auto parts. Is that right?
Yes, Judge.
And you didn't pay them. That's simple. You're in the auto parts business or just the delivery business?
Just the delivery business.
For how long?
For about a year.
Explain the business to me, since you're not in the auto parts business, just the delivery business. I have to understand the process and keep it short.
The process is I go to the store, pick up the car parts.
Go to what store?
Hyundai or Toyota.
So you go to the manufacturer?
Yes.
Or the dealership?
The dealership.
And get the part?
And get the part and deliver.
And you take them to independent garages that fix cars?
Yes.
Okay, now I understand. Your business is, you're sort of a middle person between your local auto repair shop and the manufacturer who manufactures those parts or its dealer.
Yes, that's correct.
You don't make a markup on the part, you're just paid for your delivery service. Is that right?
Yes. I do not pay for the parts. All I do is drive and deliver the parts.
So the part has already been ordered and paid for?
Yes.
By the garage, by ABC Garage?
Yes.
They just send you to expedite the delivery?
Yes, ma'am.
And how much do you get paid for each delivery?
Well, it's not by each delivery. At this particular contract, it was between $120 and $160 a day.
And you said that this particular contract, what contract is that?
This is the car parts contract. Before the car parts, delivering the car parts, I was delivering packages.
But this operation was just car parts?
Yes, it was.
Now, at some point, these two people, how many vans do you have that deliver the parts?
Currently, I have one van.
What were they using to deliver the parts?
The van that I have.
And what did you do?
I worked in my 9 to 5.
You had a different job?
Yes.
What kind of job did you have?
I work at the Navy Yard.
So this is sort of a side gig?
A hobby, I would say.
Well, a hobby, $120, $160 a day is a nice hobby.
I think so.
Yeah, okay. And so based upon what you told me before, both of these people did in fact deliver parts using your van to various ABC garages.
They also used it for personal use too, yeah.
I don't care, but they used it because you didn't use it. You were doing your day job, according to you.
Yes.
And this was a side gig where these two people were working during the day to deliver the parts.
Mr. Marshall was working during the day.
Okay, let's just say Mr. Marshall.
Okay.
Now, Mr. Marshall sort of contracted with Miss Booker, or did you?
Mr. Marshall did.
You contracted with her. You agreed with her that you would split up this delivery. You would do it a couple of days and she would do it a couple of days.
Yes, Judge.
Okay, so you had no direct agreement with him. Ms. Booker, look at me. My question is, did you have a direct agreement or ever meet or discuss salary with the defendant?
No, I did not discuss
And you can sit down. Okay. Because you have to have some sort of an agreement with someone in order to sue them. You had no agreement with him. Whatever agreement you had with him, correct? Is that right?
Yes.
And am I correct, Mr. Marshall, that you were supposed to be paid, according to you, a certain amount per day to make these deliveries? You decided you wanted to work 3 days a week and she would work 2?
Yes,
That's
Judge.
what I thought I read. Okay. How much was the defendant supposed to pay you a day?
$80, Judge.
So you had a deal for between $120 and $160 a day. You were paying him $80. You were working your day job. And Sue, you were either going to get $40 or $80, depending upon the work that was done, right?
Correct.
And you were going to get that as a result of his work.
Yes.
Perfect. Now, this is what you say. You say that you all decided to go into business together. You bought this van. You paid for the insurance. He was going to work and make the deliveries. I'm telling you what you wrote.
Okay.
And if you have a problem with that, you'll tell me in a minute.
Okay.
He was supposed to work, make the deliveries, and not get paid until you paid off all your expenses, your startup expenses, the van, your insurance. Didn't you say that to me?
Yes, I
Or maybe I'm thinking about another case.
I did say
You did say that to me.
I just wasn't correct, the we, because I bought the van and I paid up all the stuff.
I said you paid. I didn't say he paid. You paid the van. You paid for the insurance. He was going to drive. He says you were supposed to pay him $80 a day to do that because you had a full-time job. You were making your money. Your defense to it is that that was not the agreement. The agreement was that he would work for free until all the expenses were paid off that you advanced for the little business.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
How much was the van?
$2,000.
So it was an old van.
Yes.
And how many months did you work at this job before you had a kerfuffle with him?
A year and 3 months.
Is that correct, sir, that he worked a year and 3 months?
It seems more about close to a year to me.
And when you say you worked for a year, was that 52 weeks a year?
Yes.
5 days a week?
Yes. Sometimes on Saturday.
From when to when?
I would work, depending
No,
on...
from what month and year to what month and year?
January 2021 until March or April 2022.
And in that year plus, how much money did you make?
Caption, coming up.
If you kept records of the days that you worked and how many hours you worked and how much you were supposed to be paid, then I could look at that. But I can't do this. This is ridiculous.
Judge, may I explain?
You can try, but you're going to be unsuccessful, Mr. Marshall, but I'm going to give you an opportunity to try.
And later today.
He did, in fact, bring you a truck.
He didn't.
Never brought you a truck.
Never brought me the truck, never returned my money, anything.
Oh.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Marquis, Kai, and Gary.
Marquis Marshall and Kai Booker claim their former employer, Gary Zephyrin, owes for unpaid contractor work.
Okay. In that year plus, how much money did you make?
Judge, it's a tough question because Mr. Zephyrin never paid me what he was supposed to pay me. He always came up with an excuse or a reason why.
I want to know how much money you made in that year.
I don't know off the top of my head.
Well,
Judge.
Then I can't help you. I have to know how much money he paid you, and I'm going to figure out from how much money he paid you, because even if I buy his defense, the van was only $2,000. So you have to sit down and figure out how much, unless you know. How much did you pay him?
Around $320 a week.
What do you mean around? I mean, you're a businessman.
He did not work 5 days a week. He's saying he worked 4 to 6 days a week. All he worked was 3 to 5 days a week.
I assume you were paid in cash?
Yes.
But you were paid during that year.
Yes.
Give me an idea in thousands how much you were paid.
Around $20,000.
$20,000.
Yes, Judge.
Around.
Yes, Judge.
So he did, in fact, pay you.
He didn't pay me everything he was supposed to pay me, Judge.
Well, how am I supposed to figure that out, sir? How am I supposed to figure that out? You keep records of what you delivered? Does he keep records? He doesn't have to prove your case. You have to prove your case.
Yes, Judge.
So do you keep records of when you worked and when you were paid?
Yes, I keep records of when I worked, Judge, but I did not keep records of what I was paid because we're always arguing. He never paid me the full
Well,
$700.
that's not the reason you don't keep records. I'm sorry, Mr. Marshall. If you kept records of the days that you worked and how many hours you worked and how much you were supposed to be paid, then I could look at that. And I can ask him, and I assume he's a businessman. He would have the same records, and there may be a dispute, but I can't do this. This is ridiculous.
Judge, may I explain?
You can try, but you're going to be unsuccessful, Mr. Marshall, but I'm going to give you an opportunity to try.
I appreciate it, Your Honor. Mr. Zephyrin was my friend. We went to the same high school, played on the same high school basketball team. I was the MVP, he was the team captain. Recently, his health has been declining. Because his health has been declining a year ago, I went to Mr. Zephyrin and I said, I'm a private contractor and I have different contracts with places. I think that you should do private contracts so you can spend more time with your kids and your wife. I apologize, but I'm emotional.
Well, don't get emotional.
I used to love
Mr. Marshall.
this gentleman.
Mr. Marshall, what I'm telling you is don't get emotional. This is not...
Okay.
It's a sad thing that you know each other for a long time, I hear, and that it's come down to a case in court. But you have to understand that in order for me to make a judgment, I need facts and information. And it's not as if you're saying to me that you delivered packages, which he acknowledges, and you were never paid. What you say is that you were shortchanged.
Yes, Judge.
And you have to be able to show me that.
I have the agreement of Mr. Zephyrin agreeing to pay me the $80 a day, and we came out with a pay
Just
scale.
a second. That's okay. I have to see when you worked and what you were paid. How am I supposed to figure out what it is that he owes you?
Because we both know that he only paid me $300 instead of the $700. We both know that.
Well, he paid you $20,000, so that's not true. According to you, he paid you $20,000. So if what you're saying that he paid you $300 and he owed you $700, is that what you're saying to me?
Yes.
Okay, so it was the last period of time that you worked for him?
Yes.
Okay, so that last period of time was when to when? Give me the month, give me the day.
January to March this year.
From January to March
Yes, Judge.
of 2022,
Yes, Judge.
you work and you claim you were owed $700. That's what you just said. Is that correct?
I apologize for the
He
miscommunication,
said-
Judge. He only paid me $3 when he was supposed to pay me $7.
Just a second. You're not paying attention to me, sir. I said your claim is that he owed you $700.
He owes me more than $700.
No. What you said was he owed me $700 and he only paid me $300. Could
Correct.
you read that
yes,
back?
Yes.
Could you
Yes,
read
Judge.
that?
Yes, Judge. You're correct, Judge.
Okay, then we don't have to read it back. That's why I have Whitney. You said he owed me $7, he only paid me $3, which means he owes you $400.
Correct, Judge.
And that was from a January to a March.
Yes, Judge.
Okay. Do you have any records of that, sir?
I paid him in cash, so I don't have any records of the payments that I was paying him. Mr. Marshall, he really never wanted me to keep records.
Okay, don't tell me what he wants. It's your business. Don't be foolish, sir. Did you have a dispute with him over this $400?
I did. We had many disputes.
Okay. Did you, in those disputes, refer to a part that got misdelivered by either the plaintiff or the person who he subcontracted with that caused you to lose a customer?
Yes.
And was that the reason that you didn't give him the $400? Just listen to my question. You had a dispute after all this time over a part, according to your answer, that was misdelivered to a customer,
Yes.
which caused you, according to you, to lose the customer. I don't know that, but that you indicated was the reason that this arrangement went south. So my question to you is that why you didn't pay him the $400?
No, it's not. He didn't return my van.
Oh, so the reason you didn't pay him the $400 that you acknowledged that you owe him was because he kept your van.
And and my contract was canceled due to Cab Booker.
Okay. Did you get your van back?
Yes, I did.
How many days later?
2 days later, after I threatened to call the police.
Okay, you owe him the $400, sir. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $400. We're finished. Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
Gary.
You can't keep somebody's van for 48 hours and still expect your money.
He's lying about the fact that we stole the van and that we had it for those 2 days.
I think it was really bad that he's suing me over this. We've been friends since high school.
Document everything that you do when you do it. That would make better sense.
But hey, things happen. He got a new girlfriend and things happen.
not a difficult situation. If you choose to pay an employee in cash, you have to keep records. Both parties should have kept some sort of records. Otherwise, what they were asking me to do was guess. This defendant actually made it easy for me because without his statement, I would have dismissed the case. He said the reason he kept the $400 because the plaintiff did not return his van right away, kept it for 2 days. Well, that's sort of retaliatory. How do you fix $400 as
cost for keeping
as a
a
cost?
van?
You know, that's ridiculous. That's self-help. Keep records.
You should.
Especially if you want to come to court.
Exactly.
Case number 2075, Johnson versus McIntosh. All parties, please step forward.
Dominique Johnson is suing her children's uncle, Chris McIntosh, for a truck she never received.
Miss Johnson, this is your brother-in-law. I believe that, is it your husband or is he your ex-husband?
No, it's just my kid's father.
Okay. The father of your children is currently incarcerated?
Yes.
So he's not your brother-in-law, he's just the brother of the father of your children?
Yes.
Okay, you have 2 children?
I have 3.
Is he the uncle of all 3?
Yes.
Okay. There came a time when you were in need of a new vehicle or a different vehicle. Your car was giving you trouble.
Yes.
Mr. McIntosh, according to what I've read, has tried to maintain a relationship with his brother's children.
Yes.
Despite the fact that you no longer have a relationship with him.
Yes.
And according to what I'm putting together, you reached out to him or you were on the phone with him and told him you needed another car.
Yes.
And according to you, he said he had a car, a truck.
Yes.
That he would sell you for $2,700.
Yes, that he would personally bring to me.
And he did, in fact, bring you a truck.
He didn't.
Caption, coming up.
So on what date did you buy it?
I don't.
Think. You know, you're coming to court today. You knew that this was the issue when you came here.
Yeah.
Not yeah, yes.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Dominique and Chris.
Dominique Johnson claims her children's uncle, Chris McIntosh, owes for the cost of a truck she never received.
According to you, he said he had a car, a truck.
Yes.
That he would sell you for $2,700.
Yes, that he would personally bring to me.
And he did, in fact, bring you a truck.
He didn't.
Never brought you a truck.
Never brought me the truck, never returned my money, anything.
Oh.
I even tried
Just a second.
Okay.
So you sent him the $2,700.
Yes.
What date?
June 21st of this year.
What happened to her $2,700?
Bought the truck there and then dropped it
What
off.
truck did you bring there?
2007 Suburban.
And where did you get that truck from?
I got it from an auction.
Okay, I'd like to see the paperwork.
I don't have the paperwork.
Well, that's unfortunate. Why wouldn't you bring the paperwork? It's only a couple of months ago.
Because the auction is every first Thursday. It's not the same person running the same auction. They don't have the same paperwork for the auction.
Well, if you had paperwork, you would have also have had a title for it.
Yeah, and I left it in the glove compartment box.
What's the name of the auction?
Towing,
Where are they located?
Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Sarah Rose, would you look that up, please? She did send you the money.
Correct.
How did she send it to you?
Cash App.
Yep, which I have proof, Your Honor.
No, there's only one issue. She says that you never brought any truck. You say, well, you bought this truck at an auction. The auction is every Thursday?
Every first Thursday of the month.
First Thursday. So on what date did you buy it?
I don't.
Think. You know, you're coming to court today. You knew that this was the issue when you came here.
Yeah.
Not yeah, yes. So what date was it that you bought the truck? That you have no paperwork
Thursday.
for at all?
Thursday.
Which Thursday?
What month was that I bought you the truck? I really don't know. Like, I'm being so serious right now, like.
Honestly, if I could speak, it was June 21st I sent him the money. June 21st was when he was supposed to bring the truck to me. He never bought the truck. Then he stated to me that he sold the truck and that he had another one that was less, and I have that truck as well. This was the first truck initially I was supposed to get.
Did he ever bring you any truck?
No, not at all.
Do you have any phone messages?
I do.
I'd like to see them, please.
And towing. It's a towing and auction house.
Okay, say when they have auctions?
It doesn't list it on their website, but I could try and see.
It's a lot of them, honestly, a lot of messages.
Dominique hands her phone to Kevin, who brings it to Judy.
I have those dates of the auction. They list their past auctions. There was one May 5th of this year, June 5th of this year, July 2nd, August 6th, and September 3rd of this year.
June
all
what?
the most recent. June 5th. And I actually have a list of every car that was included in that June 5th auction. So if you give me the make and model, I could see if it was included in that auction on June 5th.
You went in June for the auction or in July?
Yeah, June 5th.
He said a 2007 Yukon, right?
No, Suburban.
2007 Suburban.
There was actually 2 different trucks that...
Well, that's the one he said he bought.
The only car from 2007 at the June 5th auction was a 2007 Nissan Murano.
Nissan Murano. Wasn't a Nissan Murano. That was the only one that was sold in June 2007.
It was sold in 2007, but I bought a 07 Tahoe Suburban.
I understand that. But you say you bought it in June, and they list on the website everything that they sold in the June auction. Am I understanding that right, Sarah?
Yes.
They list all the cars that they sold in the June auction. And the only car that they sold that was a 2007 was a Murano. He says, and I will be leaving in about an hour or 2 after I get the Venmo. Would you please just put where you start to ask for your money back because you didn't get the truck? That's what I want to see. I want my money back because you didn't bring me the truck.
There was no Chevy Tahoe 2007 at the July 2nd auction.
Either.
And a lot of the vehicles, a select few, are above $1,500, and that's for newer models. Everything else is under $950.
Thank you. There was no such car either in June or July.
No.
Okay. That's so interesting that they have that information on a website. Ms. Johnson, you can't just give me your phone and expect me to go through pages. All I want, you said you had something indicating that you told him you wanted your money back because you didn't get a truck. So far, there's no evidence that he bought you a truck from the place that he said he bought you a truck.
Yep, here's the part where I'm asking for the money back. He doesn't have proof that he even bought the truck.
No, there is no proof that he bought the truck.
He never bought the truck. Okay, so starting from here, this is me asking if he wanted to just cash at me back my money because he never showed up.
Read it to me.
Oh, okay. It says, do you want to just cash at me back the whole $2,700 because all this waiting isn't necessary. It's just a few taps to cash at me back my money. We can say forget the whole thing because now this isn't sitting well with me. This was supposed to be easy. I don't have my truck or my money. Like, how does that work? And then I offered to just go down there and get it myself. And then he said that there was no place. I said, okay, but how do I get it home with no place? So this whole time he was kind of dragging me on. And then this is the picture of another truck that he sent me.
That's a picture of him?
Yeah, he's posing in front of the truck, the second truck he supposedly had bought for me.
At the auction, yeah. He just told me he bought the second truck at an auction. There's no indication that that auction house where he said he bought it sold a truck that he said that he bought, either in June or July. Got that right?
Yes.
Okay, I don't have to waste any more time. You have no paperwork, Mr. McIntosh, that you bought this truck. You have no proof at all that you brought this phantom truck to her house. Why would she be asking for her money back?
Because I bought her a truck and I dropped it off in front of her house, left her the paperwork saying what's wrong with the truck in the truck. She says that she didn't want it, so I said my finder's fee was only like $400, and that's $200 for just a bus ticket to get there. She can sell the truck and get her money back. That's what I told her.
$2,700, judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you very much.
This court is adjourned.
Chris.
I hope this don't affect the relationship with my nieces and nephew.
I'm not really here to bad talk anybody. I just wanted, my money back.
I left it there with the papers and the receipts.
Right is right, wrong is wrong.
She said she didn't want it. I told her she can sell it back, get her money back.
I feel like he kind of screwed it up in a way.
I just want to be a good uncle all the time.
Sarah.
I love when a website is so meticulous and gives us all the evidence that we need. This website had a very well planned out photos.
A towing company.
Towing and auctioneer house had every single auction, every car that was sold, photos, the username of the person who purchased it, and the price of the vehicle.
I can't imagine a company like that doing that voluntarily. And it has to be by law to be licensed in order to avoid stolen cars being auctioned off. Has to be very smart.
Yeah, good way to track the evidence.
That was impressive.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course.
Title, Judy Justice.
Are you having a family dispute? Go to judyjustice.tv.
Before you could move into the house, you had to upgrade the electric.
Correct.
You were dissatisfied with the company.
I had it signed off, but it was signed off when the job was half done.
That's your problem. You want to sign off when something's half done? Fine. I wouldn't sign off when my hair was half dried.
This is Judy Justice. John and Cynthia Frazee are suing John's former client, Cynthia Booth, and her fiancé, Dwayne Burnley, for posting damaging reviews.
Court come to order. All rise.
Seat, please.
Kevin approaches the bench.
Hello, Judge.
Why,
Case
Kevin?
2079, Frazee versus Burley Booth.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Frazee, you are an electrician by trade.
Correct.
And how long have you been in that business, sir?
Since 1986 as a license and 1978 as an electrician.
Now, maybe a decade ago, you're going to give me the exact year, month and year. You were called to do a job for this lady. Your last name is?
Booth.
Miss Booth. And you did an electrical job for her. We'll go into it more fully in a minute. When you were doing that job, you brought in a helper. This gentleman whose name is Mr. Burnley.
That's correct.
And before you brought in Mr. Burnley, I gather from the papers, Mr. Burnley did not know Miss Booth. Would that be a fair statement?
That's a fair statement, but he did not bring me in. I was actually just driving down the street, and I'm new to the mountain, and I drove by and saw Mr. Frazee there, and I was...
Listen, this is not Gone with the Wind. This is not War and Peace. I asked you a simple question. Before you were brought in on the job, you didn't know Miss Booth.
That's correct.
Right. And that was about 10 years ago.
Correct.
Since that time, since you were brought in on the job, you and Miss Booth have gotten to know each other a lot better.
Correct.
And I assume that by a lot better, that the two of you live together.
Correct.
And you've been living together for how long?
Since November.
Of this last year,
Yes.
November of 2021. But prior to that, you were social friends.
Correct.
And that social friendship started when first introduced to her at this job. It's the first time you met her.
Oh, that's the first time I met her, correct.
Correct. This is your problem, and this is the nature of your lawsuit. You allege that you did a job for Miss Booth almost a decade ago, and you came to ascertain that Miss Booth and/or Mr. Burnley had written some negative reviews about your company, currently wrote negative reviews about your company based on work that you did 10 years ago.
Yes.
That's your complaint. And you asked them to take them down. First they did, then they didn't. You found other ones posted in different areas. Now, Mr. Burnley, are you a working man, sir?
Yes.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm an electrical contractor in Big
Okay. Now, at the time that you first met Mr. Frazee, did you have your own company?
Yes.
You had your own company.
Yes.
In what year did you do Miss Booth's job?
I did it on April 30th, 2013, Your Honor.
That's not correct.
That's not correct.
Shh. Month and year, you say you did the job.
The job was done on May 9th of
what?
2013.
Okay, so we're off by a month. Is that right? I don't care. You were talking about 9 years ago.
Correct.
Now, tell me something about the job. What was the nature of the electrical job that you were doing?
An older home needs to have at least a minimum of a 100 amp service. Ms. Booth's home had a 70 amp service at the time. She was purchasing it, and that came up on the inspection report to replace that, which I was engaged to do.
So far, correct?
No.
Well, now I'll have your version. Did you have to upgrade the electric?
I had to upgrade due to a homeowner's insurance.
Okay, well,
That's
the
what they
home-
required.
What's the difference in what he said? He said that you had to have your electricity upgraded, and it came up in the inspection report.
It did not come in an inspection report.
Well, then how did they find out?
I
Who
was
found out
honest
about
with
it?
my policy.
What do you mean you were honest with your
Well,
policy?
they asked me what year the house was and what amperage it had, and I said 75.
And your insurance company said to you, it has to be 110.
100.
Or 100.
Yes.
Before you could move into the house, for one reason or another, you had to upgrade the electric.
Correct.
Okay, and you hired Mr. Frazee
Yes,
to
they
do
were
that.
my friends.
I don't care whether he was your friend or not. If he was your friend and he was a vet, you wouldn't have hired him to do
No.
your electrical work.
Of course
He was your
not.
friend and he was an electrical contractor.
Right, correct.
And when he came to your house to look at the job, did he come alone or with a helper?
Alone.
Once you change the ampage in a house, do you have to get somebody from either the county or the city where you live to sign off on it? That's either a yes or a no.
Yes.
And once Mr. Frazee did that, modified the ampage, did you have an inspection?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have that inspection?
Yes.
I'd like to take a look at it.
And the job was not...
I didn't ask you anything.
Okay.
That also includes Mr. Burnley's inspection.
Just a second.
I'm sorry.
Don't volunteer. I'm old. I get confused. I try to keep these things very linear, so even I understand them.
Judy reviews a document.
This is the inspection sign-off on the work that you did in 2013. Have you seen it? Yes, of course you have.
No.
Well, show it to them. You do remember that you had to have an inspection afterwards.
Of course.
Ms. Booth.
Of course.
Okay, it's just common sense. If you didn't have the work done and you said to your insurance company, I had the work done, the insurance company would say to you, show me proof that you had the work done, otherwise we're not giving you insurance.
Correct.
So you know you had an inspection after he completed the work.
It wasn't after the work.
The work was never.
Shh. I didn't ask you anything.
Okay.
But I will answer for you.
She
Your
wasn't.
Honor.
You can.
Okay.
You can. So the insurance company accepted your word that the work was done.
Yes.
Okay. Can I have that back, please?
And I did tell them I had it signed off, but it was signed off when the job was half done.
That's your problem. You want to sign off when something's half done? Fine. I wouldn't sign off when my hair was half dry.
Caption coming up.
I'm saying to you that it was nasty and malicious. And it wasn't until the two of you were hoochie-coochieing that all of a sudden we got negative reviews about a job they did 9 years before. That's ridiculous. It's mean-spirited.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, John, Cynthia Frazee, Cynthia Booth, and Dwayne.
John and Cynthia Frazee claim John's former client, Cynthia Booth, and her fiancé, Dwayne Burnley, slandered their business. Dwayne is countersuing for filing a wrongful lawsuit.
Now, my next question to you is, after 2013, did you perform electrical work for Miss Booth in her house? That's either a yes or a no.
Yes.
Now I'm going to ask you, what was the nature?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I don't remember.
You mean, just a second, you remember the work that you did when Mr. Frazee was there in 2013, when you were with him, but you don't remember the nature of the work that you did for your girlfriend in 2018?
I'm pretty sure it was a panel upgrade.
Just a second. I want you to think. What kind of work did you do for Miss Booth in 2018?
It must have been the panel upgrade that I did at her house. I changed the 100 amp out to a 200.
Look at me.
Because that would be.
Look at me.
I'm sorry.
So you changed the 100 amp. Shh. This is not my strong suit, and I have to tell you something. Of the 100 million people who are watching this, they're going out to get a cup of coffee right now. You changed the 100 amp that he had done in 2013 to a 200 amp. You upgraded it in 2018.
And put a surge protection system
And a
in her
surge
house.
protection.
Yeah, now I do recall.
Great. When was the first negative review that you can show me written about your company? Now we got what's going on. Now I have it
2019, Your
clear.
Honor.
Do you have it clear?
I think a little bit more fuzzy than you, but clear enough.
Do you have it clear?
I have it clear now.
You have it clear? Well, just to make it crystal clear, Mr. Frazee did work at Miss Booth's home in 2013. It was electrical work. It was electrical work performed by him with the help of Mr. Burnley, because in order to get a homeowner's policy on her new house, she had to upgrade to satisfy, according to you, only insurance.
Correct.
That's what you say, from 70 to 100 amps.
Yes.
Look, this whole little thing at my age, I'm learning. Now, evidently, they liked what they saw in 2013, and that materialized into a romance. Good for you. And in 2018, I assume he was living there?
No.
When did he move in?
November of.
Shh.
November
of last year.
Yes.
Okay. But you were dating in 2018?
Yes.
Yes. In 2018, Mr. Burnley, not with the help of the plaintiff, replaced and upgraded the 100 amp to 200 amp, which is much better because I know that I have 200. That's, you have to plug things in. It's 110, 220, right?
Yeah.
110, 220. And he put in a surge protector. Now, even I know what a surge protector is. Correct me if I'm mistaken. That means if there's an overload, a lightning strike, whatever it is, it protects it so the whole board doesn't fry and everything turns off, and then you have to replace all the wires go zzz. Am I right? Right. So he upgraded the system and touched of necessity what Mr. Frazee did in 2013. No question, had to do that. Now I'd like to see the negative reviews and when they started.
The first one we found was in 2019, Your Honor.
Well, are these in order? This was...
That's the most current one that was in February of 2022.
Did you write this? Frazee Electric, he was supposed to do a panel change and never put rods in and fried my electronics in my home and garage opener. Left such a mess and never cleans up.
That's correct.
Did you write that?
Yes, I did.
When? In what year?
It's about 3 years ago.
3 years ago, 2018.
Approximately.
About when he changed the electrical
Yes,
system. Just a second. About when he changed the electrical system. All right, then you wrote something. I will not even write this company 1 star due to the unprofessionalism in completion of work. Hired this electrician to do a 100-watt panel, never grounded, never finished, and left a mess. He's known for not cleaning up. Had to hire another electrical contractor that was most professional. Now, when did you write that review?
About the same time.
2018?
Yes, on a different review.
That was a different one. And you said that you had to hire another electrical contractor.
Yes, I
to
did.
finish the job. And who was that?
That was DMB Electric.
That was him?
Yes, I called
Just a second.
2 competitors.
Just a second. In what year did you call them?
Oh, this was...
No, in what year did you call him?
2013.
After he left, you called them?
I called 2 other contractors.
Just a second. Did you end up using Mr. Burnley?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so back in 2013, you were dissatisfied with this company.
Yes.
Let me follow this. 2013, you were dissatisfied with the company. You called another company.
2 other.
Just a second. You called another company, but the county had signed off on your job.
Yes.
What you say in your answer is that they signed off erroneously on the job. Well,
yes.
I have to take on face value they're signing off that the job was completed. And I assume you got your homeowner's insurance.
Yes, I did.
After he left and after you had the county sign off.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
But they...
Now, just a second. Now, don't tell me a but.
No.
Now, 5 years later, because this was written in 2018.
Correct.
5 years later, you're now dating Mr. Burnley.
Correct.
Who's now living with you.
No.
Who had, well, you say you moved in 2021.
Oh, 21.
Yes.
I thought you
Yeah, who's now living
Yeah.
with you. You began dating in 2018.
That's correct.
And Mr. Burnley, who is now living with you, and in 2018, you woke up one morning and said, who now has his own electrical company, woke up and said, 5 years ago, Mr. Frazee's company and he did not do a professional job in my panel. And now we're dating. And now all these negative reviews come, not in 2013 when we, Sarah, you have Yelp and all those things in 2013?
I'm not sure if I can get back that far, but I could search.
And I wasn't aware of Yelp.
I don't care what you were aware of.
Okay.
You mean you woke up in 2019 and found out that you could give a star or a review? That's the first time you found that out? I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
Well, it's
I just
true.
want to tell you something. I don't believe you. I don't believe that when you want to go to a restaurant, Miss Booth, and it's a new restaurant, you don't take a look on your computer and say, I wonder how many stars it got. I wonder if there are any reviews on this resort.
Yes.
Well, then you were smart enough to do this.
My sons are in IT, so they
I want to
will-
tell you something. I don't believe you.
Okay.
Because I'm older than you are. And I know about this, and she can tell you I'm an idiot on the machine.
Well,
I
I'm
don't buy it. And I don't buy actually. Yeah, it is.
I can't see any
Your
of the
Honor,
reviews.
No.
But there are reviews on Yelp of his business that all are very positive.
I have them if you'd like to see them.
I will look
And
at
I
them.
have negative reviews that says the exact same thing what Cindy posted.
Just a second. You don't understand what I'm saying to you, Mr. Burnley. I'm saying to you that it was nasty and malicious, because if she was unhappy with the service, it would have been posted in 2013, 14, 15, 16, 17. And it wasn't until the two of you were hoochie-coochieing that all of a sudden we got negative reviews about a job they did 9 years before. That's ridiculous. It's mean-spirited.
Caption coming up.
All those positive reviews that you posted, did any of them have to do with people that you're sleeping with? That's a question.
No,
No,
of course not.
Of course not.
I'm not that
Okay.
kind of girl.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, John and Cynthia Frazee, Cynthia Booth, and Dwayne.
Electrician John Frazee has accused his former client, Cynthia Booth, of posting damaging reviews years after the job was completed.
It's mean-spirited.
That's not correct.
Just a sec. You say it's not correct.
Well, I'm
I'm
just
looking at the timeline. I'm looking at an inspector's report.
Right.
Who is a disinterested party, who signed off on an electrical work. I'm listening to Mr. Burnley, who 5 years later did work that replaced his work from 100 amps to 200 amps with a surge protector, and all of a sudden, you start writing negative reviews about their company. That's the timeline. And if you want to try to fill me in and make me feel as if I made a mistake, I'll give you 30 seconds to do it.
Okay. Yes, we started seeing each other in 2014. And my sons are in IT administration, and they had told me, Mom, you don't know
Don't
about
tell me what
Yelp?"
your sons, don't tell me what your sons
Okay,
told
I
you.
didn't know about Yelp or Google reviews back at that time, because I'm not computer savvy.
You want to know something? I don't believe you. I don't believe you. I'm almost 80 years old, a lot older than you are. And I know that if I want to look something up, which I do occasionally, I look something up and I say, did so-and-so eat at this fish restaurant? It's a new place, it's a new town. I'm going to go there and take a look at it. I know how to do that. And I'm an idiot, and I'm an idiot. And if you just found it out, if you just found out how to do it, then there was no reason for your first review to be about his company.
No.
About a job that was
There's
done.
91 other reviews I've posted.
Just a second. Positive or negative?
Positive.
Are you sleeping with any other electrician?
No, I'm not.
Just a second. That's the end. All those positive reviews that you posted, did any of them have to do with people that you're sleeping with? That's a question.
No,
No,
of course not.
Of course not.
I'm not that kind of girl.
What I'm telling you is the timeline doesn't make sense. These nasty reviews written about a job that started 9 years before, in this case, 6 years before, now that you are sleeping with a head of an electrical company, don't make sense. And my nose tells me if it doesn't make sense, it's not true. Now, when you came back a month later, what else did you do?
That's it.
Didn't
At that
clean up a
time.
mess.
At
Just a
that
second.
time.
Didn't clean up a mess.
Yes, I cleaned up the mess.
You cleaned up what
My
mess?
mess. He
your
doesn't
mess.
clean up his mess.
Well, you didn't. That's what she told you.
No, I have other reviews of other people on the internet that
I'm asking you a question. You didn't clean up his mess.
I didn't clean up his mess. I misunderstood you.
Okay, well, that's what I said.
sorry.
You didn't clean up his mess.
No, I cleaned up his mess.
And didn't write a review.
Well, I didn't know about Yelp.
I'm telling you, you can say it until the cows come home.
not
I don't
true, Your
believe
Honor.
you. I don't believe you. And I don't believe that the first year that you found out to write a review is when you and Mr. Burnley started a relationship. I just don't believe it.
No.
And I think it's mean-spirited. You have to know, Miss Booth, I think it's mean-spirited.
But we were seeing each other in 2014.
You were seeing each other in 2014.
Yes.
You have a company, sir?
Yes, I
Do you
do.
have a company?
Yes.
Are you licensed?
Yes.
What's the name of your company?
DMB Electric Inc.
Just would you take a look at that, Sarah?
It'll be under DMB Electric Services Inc.
And in what year was your company formed?
This
She's-
one, this
this-
one, 2013.
He had a prior
I had a prior one.
2013.
Yes, Your Honor.
Was that before or after you did her job with him? Before
The
or
license-
after?
I had the license before.
No, the company. I said, was the
Yes,
company
the company
formed?
was established.
Careful, because she's a whiz with the computer.
No, that's good.
Was your company formed before?
Yes, Your Honor.
Before you did the job with him?
Yes.
Okay, in what month in 2013?
I don't know.
Are you
what date.
guessing?
Yeah, I'm going
Are
to
you
guess
guessing?
January. Yes.
Was it before or after you did the job with the plaintiff? If you don't know the answer, say, I don't remember.
I don't remember.
Okay, now,
The business was incorporated March 20th of 2013.
does it have any reviews?
Only 4 from the past 2 years on Yelp, all positive.
By the way, did you ever write a review for him? Did you ever write a review for Mr. Burnley's company? Is not an answer. Did you ever write a review for Mr. Burnley's company? Stop shaking your head, Mr. Burnley. Did you ever write a review for Mr. Burnley's company?